want stuff on the desk. It sounds like... All right, hold on. I'm not on there yet. Oh, here we go. Let's see. And, oh, yeah. I guess I'm blabbing away while we're doing this. Here we go.
Hello and welcome. This is Gray Hughes of Gray Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
Huh? It's a house!
Hey, hold on a second. All right, here we go. It's hard to do on this program here. I got the wrong screen open here, but hold on a second. Got that one, and then we switch over to Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick. She didn't put doctor on there. She demoted herself. You see that? Just says Colleen Fitzpatrick. But here she is, basically, what do you call yourself? The mother of
invention
of FGG, right? Like you basically started the whole thing.
That goes on again, right?
Oh, did I not turn it back on? Hold on a second.
And let me get pop out.
Yeah, I forgot to turn on echo. There you go. All right, so now it's good, right? Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Hello, Mary had a little lamb. Yeah. I gotta pop out the chat. How do I do that again?
Like I think you can see it right here in StreamYard though. Just
okay,
right
let me see.
On the side.
Let me find out where you are.
Well, it's like on the the internet.
Yeah, I know.
The web page, the StreamYard one.
I know. I got to find out because they have so many tabs. Oh, here it is. Yeah. Oh, there's nobody. Oh, here they all are. Hi, freaks. Hi. I couldn't see you at first. I thought it was just Gray and I, sitting around, drinking, smoking, chewing tobacco, talking about old times. But I see everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, everybody. Oh, look, there's tons of people. Okay, I'm so glad to see you guys. How was the holidays?
I think that was pretty good.
Yeah, everybody eat a lot of turkey?
I don't like turkey. I like dark meat turkey. Well, right out of the gate. I don't like anything. I don't know. After a while, it just gets like turkey. What I like is...
I know how you feel.
If it was rib, I could keep eating it for days.
Ham. Cindy likes ham. Oh, hi, Janie. See, my classes aren't good. Oh, yeah, there's Paulette. Hi, everybody. Lasagna. Wendy likes lasagna. Okay, come on over. We'll cook some.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Yeah, we had a lot of quads. What's a quad squad? Gray, they saying something about. Do I know about the quad squad?
I have no idea what they're talking about.
I don't know.
People just like to type in to sort of show that they're in on something, and nobody knows what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah, thank you, Regina. They were merry and they were bright, both at the same time. Now I only have to worry about 362 days until I have to do it again. All right, we're good.
I guess they're talking about my 4 dogs.
Oh, well, yeah, I thought you only had 3.
The camera, I have 4 now, or we have 4. 2 Chihuahuas, a Yorkie something mix, and then Maltese. They're all buddies now.
Oh, you know what? They just asked, Muddy just asked the magic question. You see it in the chat there?
Let's see. Muddy.
Muddy pause. The magic question.
Oh.
Hi, Kim.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that one later. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Hi, let's talk about your dogs for now.
No, you were going to give us the updates on...
Oh, yeah. I was, guys. Look, you guys sponsor some of our cases, so I'm coming to give you an update. And so here goes. I got my screen up and everything. Hang on. One of them was, let's see, where do we start? We have Gray can talk about this. We had a case called a torso case from Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you guys probably spent some time talking about it because it wasn't clear where it was buried. But Gray worked with Kevin Smith, the detective, to try and find out. And it was tricky, but they got it because they had an old picture and they triangulated about the tree and the house and the roof and that type of thing. And
me and you started it because I kept sending you pictures back and forth, and then we got him involved, and then they went out there, and then boom, there's the
right. Right. So anyway, after working on it, so they sent it to the lab, and they had been obvious if it's a torso, it's got trauma marks. So the last I heard, which was late October, they had not analyzed the trauma marks yet. They were still working on it, and they had a couple of cases that had to be done ahead of it in the queue, which were probably violent crime cases. So I'll write them right away after the holidays because that one should be just about ripe for the picking, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there's people in here that don't know. Okay, so the thing is Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick is the founder of Identifinders International. They are a company that does IgG or FGG, whichever one you want to call, investigative genetic genealogy. I think that's the newer term now. Yeah. And so they go out and identify Jane and John Does or even parts of bodies to figure out, who is the, who the person is. I mean, and so we here, there's lots of places out there that don't have the funding, and so they aren't able to do these cases. So we've, donated a ton of money from this channel to Identifinders for their use, and then they collaborate with law enforcement or whoever the agency is, and then they go through the process of, getting the sequence of DNA and then putting it into GEDmatch and family tree DNA, and then going through the genetic genealogy and determining who the person is, and then finally these people get their names back. So that's what we do here often, right? Was that a decent explanation?
Yeah, that was good, Gray. Thanks. Close enough. You see, he learned everything he knows from me about the FGG
for government work. Yeah, close
enough for government work.
Yeah.
So the torso was kind of interesting. It's from 1972. It's a male torso, and it's sort of suspected. Somebody told me it may be a serial killer. They had another one found in the area sometime later. So at the time in 1972, they just plain buried it. I mean, you can't take fingerprints, right? No DNA. So they ask around. Nobody's going to tell them. Why would everybody tell them, hey, I know who the torso is? You got to think about that. Nobody's going to go up to them and say, I know who it is. Well, how come? Well, I took him up. Oh, I'm so sorry. No, I don't know. So they have to analyze the trauma on it because maybe that will tell using modern technology, what kind of blade was used or what kind of, it took some effort to exhume it. It was buried in a coffin and so on, but they finally pulled it up and it's a torso. So it's being analyzed right now. So let's say that's like one of the next ones in the queue.
So how does the DNA look on that one?
They don't have it yet. They're going to send the bone out for extraction is the next step after they finish puzzling and photographing it and that type of thing.
Seems like they would just get a sample to send off, and then
You think so?
everything's done in the slowest way possible.
No, everything moves at the speed of dark. Okay, you got to travel at the speed of dark.
I guess that's.
And then you're never disappointed, no matter what.
Yeah.
So let's see. The next one is called Unicorn Girl. And let me look this up. This one is from 1993. And it says, this is from NamUs. Skeletonized remains were discovered by a mushroom picker in a wooded area just off the exit ramp in Michigan, 275 in Michigan. Examination of the remains revealed female, mid-20s, good oral hygiene. So, like this gal's missing, right? A 1986 calendar was found in her wallet, and a small black T-shirt with the logo of a unicorn under a rainbow that said "Dreams begin where rainbows end." The wallet also had rainbows and unicorns on it. So, Unicorn Girl, I feel pretty sorry. We have tried 4 times to get DNA out of Unicorn Girl. The first time was zip. The second time, I think, was 0.5. Is that right? Yeah. Then the third time was like 5. And that was it. So in the meantime, we've heard that Michigan State Police have come up with 400 picograms. We need about a half. We need about 500, 400, 500 to feel comfortable. 50 doesn't cut it. 0.5, 5 doesn't cut it. So right now, after trying to do several extractions and not getting anywhere, Michigan State Police said, out of the blue, after all of this, they say, hey, wait, didn't we tell you about our 400 picograms?
It's
and
like,
I'm
what,
saying,
what a waste
no,
of
you didn't.
Right.
Yeah,
we wouldn't
I
have wasted
said,
the
no,
money.
you didn't. Right. That really, listen, that eats my grits. So,
that's
so
similar.
then,
Go ahead.
well,
Are they sending that? Are they going to be sending that to, getting that moving along like it's already in the process now? So now that case is back completely open now.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, we have a message into the people that are handling it to, verify and say, where'd the 400 come from? Are you, why didn't you tell us? So it's a holiday and all those people are, on holiday. So I'll have more for you after that. We asked them right before the holiday because it just came up. DLI bought Intermountain, and so they're organizing things. So they said, it took a little bit of time to just get the answer. And then we said, okay, well, maybe the Michigan people have some more. And they said they might. So I have to get back to you, but maybe.
That case is one that's interesting to me because that one, they're all interesting, but I'm just saying that's a serial killer kind of MO where you're going up a ramp. The trucker, it's like the trucker scenario of a serial killer. That's exactly what that one feels like, they go up the ramp, they dump the body, and they get back on the freeway and they're gone. Nobody knows, they're out of it. So that's what it seems like. So I'm interested to see. Yeah,
I mean, I know that because can I just say like a story on the side? Is we worked there was a case we did, Sharon Hammock. She was a woman in Michigan again, and she basically she's found, I think, off an off ramp. She was actually I think she was a sex worker, but she had 2 children. So anyway, we did the DNA. They found her wrapped in a carpet, whatever. And then they had another hit in the state of Maryland. So they knew that, whoever did one did the other. Well, we identified Gary Artman, and he, had a CODIS match. All right. So he was a trucker. And we're going, So he went to trial, but the problem was he had terminal lung cancer because he smoked. And they were hurrying up to get the trial because if he survived long enough, they were going to bring him to Maryland, try him again. And I testified in the case in November last year. So going into, or early December, going into the new year, right before the new year, he went into a coma. And they thought they were waiting for a deathbed confession for other cases. And, you know, he went into a coma. So they were all going, oh, rats, you know, now. But he woke up again. And he gave enough evidence for 9 more cases, 9 more murders, and then he died. How about that?
You think he had more than that? Like, you know?
Yeah, they thought maybe, but because the trial centered on a certain number, you know, he just sort of stuck to that number. You know, we don't, it's hard to say.
You know that case going on with the Long Island serial killer?
Yeah.
It's like there's all these bodies on Gilgo Beach, and every single one of those is going to be that guy's. Okay, so he's already got 7 now that have been tied to him, and I just think he's got dozens of people. Like, I mean, even if he's not going to say anything, he probably had other dumping grounds that nobody discovered yet that just randomly got discovered. You know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the thing is, you look at the the dates when these gals. There was, I forgot, there was some in the 90s, and then there was some later, and then there was some later after that.
It was 93, 2000, 2003, and 2010.
Yeah.
But, I mean, maybe there's some in like 96 somewhere, you know, or 2006 or 5, something. And then what about between 2010 and 2022 when he was arrested? My God, he was still doing the same shit with the phones and.
Yeah, he had a house. What, in North Carolina? Is that it? He had a house in North Carolina, somewhere else.
Yeah. Yep.
So you know, there you go. You know, there you go.
Yeah, I just think at some point another sort of dumping ground area will be discovered. In the future, and it'll probably tie back to him. I can't imagine. You know, they just got lucky and found every single one of his bodies. You know, that just doesn't.
No, they didn't. And some of them, they'll never find. You know, some he could have thrown in the Long Island Sound. You know, you don't know that. Now, I'm saying allegedly thrown in the Long Island Sound. He is innocent until he's proven guilty.
Okay. Yeah, but I know that's the thing everybody says, but my opinion is that he absolutely 100% is the guy, because there is, you know, it's one of those cases where it's just, you know,
like Luigi,
Luigi Mangione, Richard Allen's one of those ones. So is the guy Brian Koberger. I mean, those guys are just all locked in. You know, if you want to, it's amazing how many people out there want to try to free somebody on technicalities. They're like, oh, wait, no, look at, hey, now what if we can do, you know, and they start talking about, but it's like, do you think he's a killer or what? I mean, it's just really strange, the mentality of a lot of people these days. But well, you can't really, you know, officially say anybody's guilty until they've gone to court or they made a plea deal or something. So, you know, I try to steer clear. I always try to say allegedly. Well, you have to do that because you're kind of like, I don't do court cases or. Yeah.
Well, I want to say everybody needs a fair trial. So I don't mean to say, oh, he did it. No, or anybody did it. He, whatever. You always have to, you know, let the whole system take its course. You know, let them be tried and found one way or the other.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that's kind of the. I always say that, like, hey, you know, he's got to go to court and everything, but I'm 100% certain this guy did it. You know, that's what I say. You know, because it's like I can, you know, I'm a person with an opinion. I mean, the guy's been arrested. All these people have been arrested. They're being charged. They, you know, looking at it. Yeah. You know, when you just go through the facts of some of these cases, there's really no other option.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know from your perspective, though, there's people that, like, you might get called in to a case or something, and you can't have said, "Oh, he's guilty." You know, who knows? Yeah. Well, what you do when you're an expert witness is you just answer the questions. They say, was there DNA? You say, yes. Well, did you analyze the DNA? You say, yes.
You say one attorney said to me, I was really scared. The prosecution asked me the right questions about a homicide or about a sexual assault, and I was yes, no, yes. They said, well, what did you do? What is your work history? I told them that. So did you do that DNA? Yes. And did the genealogy work out? Yes, yes, no, yes. Name John Smith. We didn't know that. Did you know the name before you started out? I said no. Very key question, because that was going to be a question.
Right.
And then, so anyway, I heard that the defense was really, she was really sweet, this little attorney, Southern attorney lady, and that she kind of walked you down the hall and then grabbed you and shook you. She kind of snuck up on you. So I was sitting there, I'm thinking halfway through, you know what? This is going too well. Something's wrong. And I started to see the light at the end of the tunnel. It looked like a train coming. I said, the defense is, kind of asking me questions I can answer and being honest. And then I'm going, uh-oh, here it comes. And she got up and said, can you tell how old a DNA sample is the DNA sample they gave you, can you tell how old it is? And I said, no. And she said, no further questions, Your Honor. And I sat down. And it was disappointing, but a relief that I was waiting for her to clobber me, but she didn't. Then I sat down.
Probably didn't want to look bad. I guess in the Koberger case, you could, people say, because a couple of these police officers stumbled upon Koberger in the early investigation because they were looking for the white Elantra. And then the FBI, using FTG, lands on Brian Koberger. So there might be people that go, oh, they tried to make the DNA fit because they'd looked into him before. But that's not how it works, everybody.
Yeah, that's right. That's not how it works. That's what they were trying to say. Oh, they told you this guy's name, right? Before you started. I went, we didn't have any idea.
Right.
We just didn't have any idea. And it doesn't work that way. So, if they came up with Brian Koberger, they had other evidence that they followed up with later. It just wasn't genealogy. It was CODIS and all that other stuff. So, and anyway, they're going through the system. It's going to take a while. The trial's really drawn out and long, and everybody's, filing motions to keep them, keep them this way or that and influence anyway. So wherever we left off, that's fine. So, Party Girl. The other one, here's another one you guys are sponsoring, which really hurts my feelings. It's about, let me see what date it was. We call her Party Girl because she was at a party. She was a young girl. It said, let's see, 1976. And she was at a private residence in a party. And after they were partying, she fell asleep and they couldn't wake her up. So they called the hospital and she died. So the residents, all they had was, she called herself Bill. And she was a runaway from a youth house in Ohio that was picked up along the highway in Michigan. So this poor girl, I'm telling you, she probably had a hard life if she was from a youth facility, a runaway home. She was already kind of struggling, let's say. So she winds up at a party and then she dies. So you would hope her family would, care enough to go out looking for her, but there's just nothing around that, that you can tie her to. There's no, to our knowledge, and this is going back in the 70s, people, normally either if you had a runaway, the police would sometimes say, well, she's run away with her boyfriend, of course, but not really. You can't say. I would really like to get this one. For some reason, I really feel bad for her. And 1976, wow.
Yeah.
So I don't
So
know how old she was.
But what about they can't just keep trying and try to find is it just too degraded? Like she wasn't put in like maybe a wooden coffin or something? Or
Yeah, we don't really know. We have some tricks we're trying. We're working with a bunch of people to do better extractions. And so we have some hope that we can get that way, but we have gotten almost no DNA from that gal. And it could be because she was just, I think they could have kept some of her, but whatever we have since 1976, it's almost 50 years.
What about exhuming her?
Well, let me see. She could already be. Let me see if she was exhumed, where they got it from.
I always have a hard time giving up on some of these. Like,
Yeah, well, this is a good one not to give up on.
Right. I mean, this seems like exactly the type that,
Yeah, let me see.
How did she end up? Do they think she died like overdose and somebody tossed her or something like that? Or?
Well, I think that's probably what happened. Is she just OD'd? She wasn't taking care of herself, watching out. Some of the other kids did some stuff that screwed her over, and that's it. So we're not going to give up right now. I have some tricks up my sleeve. And what I really appreciate, you guys, is that, hi, Linda, if, you hang in with us, like, when you work for an agency, the agency's kind of a lot of times anxious to get their case solved, and they don't understand. It takes patience, but we take patience, and we're glad you do too, because I'd like to just come on every week and say, hey, we solved another one. But it doesn't always work that way.
Right.
We have solved a few with you guys, which we're very grateful for. But sometimes it takes a while. Like the Bibb County went pretty quick.
Yeah.
And then the Medina County, the guy with the buckshot who they thought was a woman, that one, didn't take that long.
But that one we haven't got to. There's no press conference on that one yet.
I don't think so.
I think that's the one that there's another investigation going on the side.
Yeah.
That's the one I think I was talking to you about. I think maybe it involved like a storage facility.
Oh, it did. Yeah. You're right. He had a storage facility.
Right.
And I think he had his family or something that didn't want to speak up right away or something like that.
Yeah, but there was something in the storage facility, I think, is leading to another sort of.
Oh, yeah. Let me see.
I don't know.
Do you remember? Yeah, let me see. Oh, I can tell you. Let me see which one it was. Let me look in my list. I may not have it on my list.
That one's kind of an interesting whole story.
That was kind of interesting. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Wasn't it in Medina County?
I don't remember the county for that one.
Okay, hang on. Let me see if I can find. Oh, we got a whole boatload of.
I mean, we also did a case where a serial killer victim we identified, but the family didn't want her name out there because she was a sex worker.
Yeah.
But that was the last of a serial killer that wasn't. There was the only one that wasn't identified, but it was still one of his victims. So
yeah. This one's Medina County. It was 1979 case, and let me see what happened. We did identify the guy, and I think the family got involved. Hold on, let me see if I wrote it down. Oh, I know. It said the daughter. We figured out who it was. And we tested his daughter, and then we found out that his wife had an affair while a guy was in prison, so it wasn't really his daughter.
All right. So there was that weirdness, right? And then it led to a storage.
So they have to get the legal identification, and the only thing, is maybe the daughter. So I can check in on that. That was in August. They were trying to resolve that. I got to make a list what I have to do for you guys so I don't forget, and then I can come back on the show.
Yeah, that'd be cool to get an update on that.
Yeah. Let me make a list. Here's my pen. List. LIST. All right.
Yeah. So I guess on the last one, Unicorn. Is that Unicorn Girl's the party one? Is that who that is?
No, there's Party Girl
and Unicorn Girl. Unicorn's one that has 400 picograms or whatever that were found later.
Yeah.
And then Party Girl is this other one.
Yeah.
So we want to see if she's been exhumed or see if there's any more.
Yeah, I can ask.
DNA.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, what we did was we wrote to the people who were handling Party Girl because they were, I think, the same ones on Unicorn. And we said, wait a minute, you had all this DNA on Unicorn. Do you have any for Party Girl? And then update on Medina, what they're doing, because, you know, that was only in August. It's almost to me like it was last century, you know, update on Medina County. When they're going to make the announcement.
Yeah, we also did the one.
Yeah,
Altona,
and then
Altona Lake one we saw.
That was a great one.
Yeah, I actually predicted that one, that he did it to himself because he had the fins on her. What sold it to me? Yeah,
if you guys remember, that was kind of cool. A man was found. He was drowned in a lake, Altona Lake, and he had bullet through his head and swim fins. He had
and weighted down.
Yeah, backpack full of stones. He had swim fins, and he was shot in the head. I mean, you figured that out. He probably, you know, paddled to the center of the lake and then took care of himself, you know.
So he kept his fins on. He was like keeping himself up with the fins, and then he shoots himself and then sinks to the bottom.
Yeah.
So wherever he shot himself, there's probably a gun down at the bottom of the ocean.
Somewhere.
Lake somewhere. Yeah.
That was a great one. I really liked that one because, you know, God, it was so weird. You know, it was one of those weird ones.
Yeah.
And, it was the one. And then on my list, I have to get an update on Medina and see what's going on with Medina.
Okay.
You know, that's the guy with we thought he had a brassiere, but he really didn't. And I don't know about the whole storage shed thing. I remember something about that. But anyway, I'll figure that out. But then the question is, how they did the legal identification and where are they at so we can announce it.
Yeah.
So I have 3 homework assignments: Party Girl, Unicorn Girl, and update on Medina County.
All right. So I guess
wait, we have one more, and that's Wyoming, baby Wyoming.
Oh yeah, what happened with that one?
Okay, guys.
Oh yeah. Okay, we
talked about that. Yeah. But anyway, that one's kind of. I looked at Jed Match on that one. He's a large fraction of him is Native American, and the top match is really low. It's like 34 centimorgans.
The Native American and Hispanic, or from Mexico, kind of look the same. I mean, like show up about the same amount. Because aren't they sort of just migratory, or did they come from? The Native Americans mainly come from north, from China down into America. Remember the land bridge, or is there a group of people that came up from south? It's kind of one of those questions. Or do they all come from north and inhabit all the land down?
Well, we just what we get is like a pie with different colors. And this Wyoming baby is like mostly Native American. It's like blue. I can't really show it to you because it's law enforcement stuff. But I can tell you that. Let me get it up. It's like let me see. It's like Hispanics are normally like a splash of Native American, a splash of African American, a splash of Caucasian, and they all come together. But with Native Americans, it's usually mostly Native American. And then you may have some Caucasian in there. So that's, so you can really tell the difference. This one it looks like it's maybe 60% Native American with splashes of a Caucasian, like 25% Caucasian. And usually when you see something like that, you think that there's a possibility that like one grandparent was Caucasian. So right now I'm looking at it. It's like 10% Caucasian, and the Native American is about 60%. So when you say 60%, it's over 50%. So therefore, you have two parents that are both Native Americans with all the other stuff thrown in.
So it might be pretty difficult
Yeah.
to identify because they're not represented in the databases as much.
Yeah. Well, we have made progress on some Native American cases, so it's not, entirely out the question. And, if you know the Native Americans in the area, excuse me, long day, that it's not the show, it's just the day. So if you look at the Native Americans in the area, sometimes you can go to them and get help from them and say, can you help us, or what's going on? A lot of times, nobody really wants to say anything, and it's a baby, and you have to think who lost a baby. It's sort of complicated, but we have sent it over to Family Tree DNA to see if we can get any better matches in the meantime, and we're still waiting on that. It's going to take. They are really slow over at Family Tree DNA right now. They're really slow. And so it takes about 6 weeks because they're rebuilding their website and stuff like that. So in the end, we'll have to get back to you. The matches are low, but even the fact it's Native American is a clue. So sometimes the genealogy isn't appropriate, but it leads to other things, right? So so that's where we're at with all the Gray Hughes cases. I wish I had some really big news, but not run it right at the moment, but stay tuned.
All right. Well, everybody seems to keep bringing up, almost obsessed in there with the JonBenet Ramsey stuff. So why don't you give us your, I'm just like, the case has been discussed by a billion people for so long. I don't understand I guess there's a documentary or some show that was on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us what you were thinking about that?
Okay, guys. In the chat, just curious. First 10 people that tell me what their opinion was. Quickly, first 10 people. Tell me what your opinion is.
You don't win anything. You don't win anything.
Yeah, you don't win anything. I wave and I say hi. You don't win anything. But I want to know what your opinion is. So quickly, slam the chat. Tell me. Hurry up.
I can actually do a poll if you want me to.
Yeah, okay. Kenny,
what do you want me to answer? What do you want me to ask him?
Okay, say, let's see. What do you think? What did you think? Let's do that.
No, wait, you get cut out right when you said what you want.
Okay, what do you think of Netflix show on JonBenet? Do you think and then let's say really excellent, let's say 1 to whatever. 0 means a washout. I'm sorry I watched it. And 5 or 10, whatever the top is, say, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I'm so glad I watched it.
I forgot how to spell it. Is it Bonet?
Donet.
Her last name?
JonBenet.
JonBenet, whatever.
Ramsey. Jon, capital J,
yeah.
And then capital Benet. JonBenet.
Benet. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just that case is never one that I watched a couple documentaries on it, but it's just
we watched 50. The one that I did, I would tell you, there's one I did not like, and that was the one where they showed all the people trying out to be in the Netflix movie. That gets kind of low, when you're just not doing the Netflix thing, you're actually filming the people trying out to be in the Netflix show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right. So there you go.
Yeah. Thank you, Ima.
70% said it was bad so far. I just said good, bad.
Okay. Good, bad. Okay. Where do I see the results? You see them? It's only you?
What's that?
Well,
that's in the, I put it, it doesn't show up on the StreamYards thing, but.
Oh, okay.
71% bad. And then this lady, hold on, let me put this on the screen. She said, would love Dr. Fitzpatrick's input on using skills to support IgG efforts. I found many families as search angel and would love to get into IGG.
Okay. Well, let me,
Okay.
you're doing the right thing if you want to do this. You want to solve as many adoption searches as humanly possible, the hardest in the whole universe. And then get a name for yourself. Go out there, be on social media, kind of join in discussions, not just, first of all, not just with the genealogists. Get involved in the forensic community. That's the way to get into IGG. Don't hang around with the GG people. Get involved with the IGG people. Join some of the mailing lists. Get on LinkedIn. Listen, get the feeds, see what people are commenting on, because there's so many people that want to get in this field. You have to be the top. And there's very, very few jobs. And if you want to start your own company, don't start your own company. There are too many people doing that. And you say, I'm going to start my own company and I'm going to fundraise. No.
Yeah, because there's already people that have done it, and they're going to get the, it's the field to me. It's still kind of newish. So the people who have done it and have a name for themselves, they're going to get the sort of law enforcement's going to trust them.
Yeah.
It would be really difficult unless you wanted to do, like you were saying, you want to start a company just for doing adoptions. That might be something that would work, but not IGT in terms of like law enforcement.
Yeah, well, some people can go to their local police department, and the police department might have a couple of cases, whatever. But, and they may, like Grace said, they may hesitate because you're a new, but you may know somebody, who's on the police department. But once you get through those case or two, it's going to be really hard to get more cases because there's just too many people. Oh, and by the way, if you really want to get in this, you have to know about DNA. That's going to give you an edge. So my advice is don't go to all the genealogy conferences and talk about it. Go to the forensic conferences. Go to AAFS, the American Academy of Forensic Science. Get involved with DNA. There was somebody who wrote a while back and said, hey, it was a small group and I want to we want to go to our local police department and get the GEDmatch kit. How do we approach them? What's your advice? What do we say to them? And I said, you don't, because they're going to ask you for the GEDmatch kit. So if you don't know about DNA and how to handle it and what's good, what works, what doesn't, don't get involved, because if you don't know what you're doing with DNA, you might ruin the DNA, and that might be the end of it, of the case and you. So if you want to get an edge, I might, get involved in the forensic end of it.
Like
you don't have
you're procuring it. Like that's kind of what one of the things you're known for is saving cases, because you didn't blow the whole thing on an earlier test of some sort.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's like you can't guarantee success. All you can do is assess the amount of risk that the agency is going to take in using up their DNA. So to assess the risk, you have to be on top of knowing what DNA is and how all the different methods you can use, and if the methods are suitable for what you have in your hand. So it could be that, you fail, but you've really given it your best shot. And you let the agency, you tell the agency, if you do this might happen. If you do this has happened. Or would you like to wait until the technology gets more set, and then you've got to look forward and say, what's the next best thing? What's going to happen next? So is it going to...
But aren't there people that are just doing the genetic genealogy portion of it? Like, you like if you had, let's say you had the best in the world, hell, Misty Gillis, let's pretend.
Yeah.
And, and she didn't, she didn't know anything about procuring it, because that's not the end of it. She'd still be great at the genetic genealogy portion, right? But you should know that when you're talking to somebody in law enforcement, as you guys do, that you'd be able to tell them something.
Yeah.
Might be valuable.
Well, it's getting better. Law enforcement's getting used to how it works. So law enforcement is now not just coming and say, hey, can I use my CODIS markers? I'd like to do genealogy. And they say, no, know. But a lot of people now, and a lot of agencies like Kevin Smith in Indiana are setting up their own units. So, it's getting to be a little bit easier to talk to law enforcement, but nevertheless, you really have to be able to pitch in and assess the risk for them, because you're supposed to know that. And a lot of people that are in the field or get in the field don't have that background. That's one of our strengths, that you're right, Gray's right, that I really, I think about it, and I really, help them. Some of the cases I worked on for DNA for 2 or 3 years, and then they get solved in 5 minutes. And then they talk about the genealogist, what a great job the genealogist did. And I'm like, hey, I worked on it for 3 years.
Yeah.
Don't leave me, please, don't leave me out. But after a while, you get used to it. That's all right.
Yeah, I know the feeling. There's so many times I come up with like theories and ideas and thoughts, and then other creators just take what I said and pretend that they thought of it on their channels.
Yeah.
Nobody's the wiser,
There's a lot of that going on. It really eats your grits,
Yeah, it sucks. It's one of those things you just look at people, how could you possibly do that?
Yeah, how could you lie, cheat, steal? How could you do that? People do that, and there's a lot of that going on in our community. So, I'm facing you, but pioneers gets arrows in their backs. You can't see the arrows in my back. Not only am I facing the wrong way, I'm, wearing the hoodie, so it covers up.
Yeah, Leah just asked, why do you think they haven't? You probably know in the Gilgo Beach case, there's Peaches is one of those. A lady, let's see, she was found in 2 different places, parts of her body. But so one of her was found way down the beach, and the other one was found. Her child was found in like way down the beach, like 5 miles away down the highway. And so, but apparently they're part, I think, African American. So that might be why it's taken so long to be able to identify them.
Yeah.
And what do you think? I don't know if you know that.
She's African American.
Well, I think that's what somebody was saying, that because I think they did enough genealogy where they got to a point where they wanted to know if anybody knew this couple or something.
Yeah.
Living in, I think it might have been Alabama. I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember that. And probably what happened is just distant matches. I mean, we have Caucasian, cases that matches just aren't there. Guy's just lucky, I guess. So the guy's just lucky, doesn't have any matches. So we, a lot of we're working on some unidentified human remains cases, and we even working on a case where turns out we got dad all figured out, and we don't know mom, but we got dad figured out, and it turns out kids of dad might be deceased. Yeah, dad's gone. So they asked the kids, and the kids said, well, my dad was a traveling salesman. We don't have any half siblings that we know of. So we're stalled out on who mom is. We know who dad is, but we don't know who mom is, so we don't know who Jane Doe is.
Right. But you think maybe if you got a hold of who dad is, I guess.
The real legitimate children have no idea who half sister is. She's somewhere in the world out there. So, some people, even Caucasians, don't always have good matches. Some do, some don't. You have a better chance, but African Americans, as a rule.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of this one here? Amber asked. As a rule, it's just a little bit more difficult. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah.
But Amber, sorry, we have a delay, so we're.
That's all right. I don't mean to talk over you.
Yes, you do. Hey, look at that. Amber Maiden said, "Do you think the Idaho 4 case will help develop new case law for IGG?" Remember that?
I think it's bringing up issues on discovery, whether the prosecution needs to turn over all the IGG records. I'm not really sure it would make that much difference.
The tree, right? The tree part.
Yeah, the tree, the matches. And, they say, we're trying to protect these people. We don't want them to know they're involved. You don't have to let them know they're involved. You can go in camera with the judge and sit around and talk about it, like behind the scenes. And, you can, there's a lot of ways you can keep, I think they just don't want people to know, what sort of, a lot of things about what they did to get there. And so if the people doing it don't hand over that information to the prosecution can say, hey, I turned everything over, and they'd be telling the truth. They just they did not take custody of the rest of the records.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a case where people are trying to make a big deal about it because they want a killer to be free. I mean, it's so strange because this case is, the genealogy led to Brian Kohberger, and then they tried to collect DNA, and then all they could find in the garbage was the father of the DNA that they got from the sample that they got off the knife sheath led to Kohberger, and then they went to get the DNA, and it led to his father. But that was enough to to arrest him and do a search warrant, and then they got a swab, and then the swab matched the sample on the knife sheath to in the octillions. I mean, it was like a crazy number, right? So it is his DNA on the knife sheath.
Definitely.
And it led to a lead, right? So they go, hey, this looks like the guy, and then they have to look into him to see if everything matches up and makes sense.
Right.
He was in Istanbul, Turkey, or something during the time. Well, wow. Well, does have to figure out how that happened, but
well, that, and then they have, the thing is, it's the CODIS match that really makes it or breaks it, and they got that. So, the genealogy becomes just supporting documentation at that point. And even there's a case in really interesting in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's the Allison Feldman murders. And what happened there is I did the Y-DNA, and 2015, right after the Phoenix Canal murders, and I came up with the name Meacham. So they searched all around. There was nobody by anything close in their case file. So then they went and they started a familial search at the same time, but it took 2 years. Mine took a month, at most, but theirs took 2 years. So they go and they do a familial search. It's the first familial search in Arizona, and that means you use CODIS, but you don't need an exact match. It's close, but it's not exact. So they went ahead and they found a hit of a guy that had been in prison when this woman was murdered, and they, but it wasn't him. They weren't looking for an exact match, so they looked around. His brother had been arrested for felony DUI, and when they did that, they had taken a blood sample. They had taken 2 blood samples. And I'm not, this isn't exactly right, but it's really close. So they had never done DNA on the blood. They have done just blood alcohol level. And, so he got off, but then he got arrested again. So they had this, and they told him, look, if you want us to destroy all this blood sample, let us know. And he never said anything. So when they tested the blood for CODIS, they got an exact match, and his name was Mitchum, Ian Mitchum. So I had the right name, but they didn't have anywhere to match, nobody in the case file, but they had somebody in CODIS that was named Mitchum. Okay, so now the question is, he appealed, saying that it wasn't right for the police to use his sample because it was only taken for blood alcohol and not for DNA. It was illegal. And at first they said, yes, that is correct. But then they reversed it because they said, we would have gotten that anyway. You first of all, you told us you didn't want it destroyed. Okay, it's on you. But secondly, we would have gotten another blood sample from you anyway. So it's sort of like we would have done it anyway type prosecution statement. And they said, okay, that's right. And so the original conviction is sticking. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, what somebody brought up, Muddy Paws brought up, but something we've talked about before in the Idaho 4 case. The big issue, one of the bigger other issues was how they use MyHeritage. Remember that? And then because you can upload your raw data there, and then they were able to sort of a backdoor
Yeah.
technique. And while it doesn't look bad, here's what I always look at. It's like, it's still just a lead. What if a psychic, let me just say that, look at this, watch this. An informant, that's a bad look too, right? But let's say an informant gave the police a tip, right? And it led to, and then they have to investigate the tip, and then it turns out, well, that's the person. Or what if a psychic, for God's sakes, just happened to be, I don't believe in them, but let's say they were doing investigation and they gave out a name and it randomly turned out to be correct. I mean, so what would the defense try to say? Hey, prove to us how. Well, you just go, well, it just popped into my head, See, to me, it's the same thing. It doesn't, for me, it's like, does it really matter how the lead was generated?
Yeah,
because
right.
It's still just law enforcement,
Well, it is, there's certain legal things and unlegal things. I mean, if you, let's say they know you did it and it just broke into your house and took your toothbrush, that's search and seizure. You don't have a search warrant. Yeah. Then that evidence, even though it proves it's you, couldn't be admitted because it's, it was handled. And like here's another one. You're staying at my house and you're a guest, and we go out one day and the police come to me and say, can we search Gray's room, or can we search your house for whatever? And I say, yes. And they go in your room and they find evidence that you created some crime. The question is, can they use that? Because I'm the one that owns the house, but it was your property. And some states say yes, and some states say no.
Right. But the tip generation was FGG, even if they did some things that are, sort of off the books or whatever the hell you call it, like, the sneaky crap, it still just came up with a name, right? So it shouldn't be like, oh, we're going to throw this out because you broke terms of service, for example, of what does that have to do with anything? It's still a lead.
Yeah.
It's
that's the thing, is that here's the big thing. Here's a big issue. The terms of service and using GEDmatch are governed by commercial companies, not by the legal system. So people can upload outside the, and don't care about your opt-in, opt-out, just use it and not go through GEDmatch Pro, just plain use GEDmatch illegally. But it's not illegal. It's against the terms of service, but it's not illegal. If you use MyHeritage, then it's not illegal to upload it. It's against the terms of service. So it's the company's policies against the law enforcement. And so is it okay to admit it in court or not? I mean, I think we're going to resolve that eventually.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the thing that they're going to try to say is, hey, they got the lead, that's why I compare it to a psychic or a,
it's not illegal.
It's an informant, right? Like informant, isn't that a little kind of, it's not a good look.
Yeah. I mean, it's not illegal to use an informant, and might not be in the best interest of everyone. Because if the informant's, selling drugs or otherwise mental issues, they can always say, well, that informant's not good. You can't use that because the guy's crazy. I don't know.
Yeah. So my thing is people just got to get like, it's not like you wish that's not how they did it.
Yeah.
They just use GEDmatch or Family Tree DNA.
Yeah. Why can't everybody just follow the rules? Come on.
Right. But then there's that moment where you're just totally stuck.
Yeah.
And there's this backdoor available.
Yeah.
I mean, when especially in a case that's, as big as that one, to try to get a name.
Yeah.
And because if you could somehow upload a kit to like ancestry.com, you just you wouldn't even have to do genetic genealogy, really. It just it would almost give you the answer right away. I still believe in my thing is that all criminals that were already being swabbed and uploading to CODIS should also be required to upload to GEDmatch. They take the same swab, whatever it is, spit thing, and send it off.
Yeah.
And we get a sample of every criminal that's in there, and it'd be a huge diversity from all states and everything. Boom, boom, boom. I think it would just be a massive help.
Yeah, but some are gone. Some
No,
are
but
dead.
yeah. I would just say the ones that are still alive and any new people, it gets uploaded there. Maybe there's a
Yeah.
deal with $50 a person or whatever.
Mm-hmm. But you still have to go back to CODIS later, and
Right.
a lot of people, you have the stuff in CODIS, but you don't know who it belongs to.
Mm-hmm. So you do CODIS and GEDmatch is what I think.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
And that's for law enforcement use only. Like they're just put into that pool plus the people who opted in.
Yeah.
So that'd be pretty sweet. But,
yeah.
Hey, you never answered the JonBenet thing.
I wanted to tell first Susan. She's Susan Anderson asked. She was who are you related to, Susan? You're and there's a Mike Fitzpatrick. How about that? We might be related, but probably not. But anyway, Susan is related to what, the New York Medical Examiner or something like that. I mean, and you go 372 centimorgans is like a first cousin, I imagine. Something in that range. That's about 10% of the DNA. And you're something like a first cousin. So I don't know how to find what you said, but I'm trying to dig through it, but I'm not doing any good. Anyway, Susan is probably like a first cousin or like a great uncle or something. Somebody pretty close.
Yeah, hold on a second. Can you guys hit the like button, you guys? And also, if you're out there and you can help support the channel, I'd appreciate it. We're almost at a sort of a normal goal, but this is like part of the income that we bring in on these shows is how we're able to fund all the stuff we do over with Identifinders.
Thanks, guys.
We send in a couple thousand. We always send 1,000.
Yeah. Let me see what DNA Painter says about the 372, and then we'll get on to JonBenet because I do want to speak about that.
It's just amazing how obsessed people are in there with JonBenet. It's like, my God.
I know.
I mean, it's okay, but I mean, it's weird.
Yeah, it's 372. It depends on how old you are, Susan, and how old your potential relative is. If you're the same age, you are a half first cousin or a first cousin. If you're the same age, you're a half first cousin or a second cousin. If you are, or half second cousin, but mostly you're probably going to be a half first cousin. If you're one generation different, then your first cousin once removed, or half first cousin once removed, or second cousin once removed, something like that, half second cousin, something like that. So it depends on your relative age. I just checked it out. Go to dnapainter.com, click on tools, or somewhere in there you're going to see the shared centimorgan project.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. It's pretty cool. It kind of gives you the what
really
the number of centimorgans, what you possibly could be,
Yeah. So it's really, so go ahead and try that, and that'll tell you. And it sounds like you're related to somebody. Oh, let's see. Thank you. I am 70 and she's in her 60s. Okay, so it's probably your half first cousin or whatever I just said, second cousin, whatever I just said.
When I tried to do this with I forgot her name, Joan. Somebody named Joan is a
Joan Hanlon.
I think so. Yeah, she was just kind of like trying to teach me how to do it, and I had started with I put my own kid out there, and I tried to find myself, but I had to you have to kind of pretend you don't know who you are. So but then there was my first match was like, God, I don't know, 1,000 centimorgans. And it turns out I just happen to know that my mom's sister gave up a daughter at birth who had just recently came forward to let us know. But if I had to start with that match, I never would have. I mean, my God, my first one that I remember doing, I have an adopted cousin that nobody knew about. And she just happened to come forward, so I just took her off the list.
Yeah.
But man, that would have been crappy.
That would have been, it happens.
Start with that,
we've solved cases in 30 seconds, and we've had cases for 3 years. Boy in the Box took 3 years. Mostly it was the DNA. That was the problem.
Armentrout took a while.
Oh yeah, he took actually no, he took, well, the DNA actually took a while. It really did. And then the genealogy took about a month. Misty did that one.
But the DNA, we had to keep doing all those different techniques. And,
I think
it was
we did.
Richmond.
We had to, It had contaminated with bacteria. That was in Hudson Alpha days. See, Gray, we go way back.
Yeah, I think that was like, what, 2020?
Yeah, 1920. Yeah, 20.
All right. So come on. Everyone just wants to know now about this JonBenet.
Okay. First of all, I did not like the show. I thought it was not really a well-balanced documentary. I thought it set you up for certain things, and then it didn't. It sort of went somewhere south after that, and they had some really important things that I thought were important that they didn't talk about. So let me talk about the ransom letter, which is my favorite piece of JonBenet evidence. Everybody wants to hear about the ransom letter. No, Yarborough took about 8 years, but that's because I had the technology had to develop. It was very primitive, and I tracked it. I tried 6 times. It's the 6th time I got it. Anyway, when you look at the ransom letter, let me tell you a big secret that isn't a secret, and that is men and women use language very differently. A man will say, "Do you want a cup of coffee?" A woman will say, "How about a hot cup of coffee?" They're different. And women use adjectives, they use adverbs, they're very more colorful and textured language.
I always say that with my mom. When we go out to eat, she always says, when they go, "Would you like a cup of coffee?" She say, "That would be lovely, thank you." Man, I cannot imagine saying that myself. Hey, sir, would you like some coffee? I'd say, "Sure, thanks." Not, "That would be lovely, thank you."
Boy, if you said that, I'd be embarrassed. I'd get up and sit at the next table.
Yeah, that'd be ridiculous.
Yeah. Anyway, so if you read that ransom letter, first of all, you cannot miss that it was written by a woman. Okay? We can bring the letter up and read it together. Go ahead. Hey, those freaks out there, let me tell you, go online while you're listening and go read your letter to yourself. And you're going to find there is no question in the world that was written by a woman. All right. There is no question in my mind either that it was written by a woman who is a mother. All right. She has no experience kidnapping anything. She's a mother that wrote the note. And the reason you think that, or I think that, is because she says something like, we'll send you, the letter says, "We'll send you the instructions on where to pick up the money, when and where to deliver the money, and you better get a good night's sleep the night before because it's going to be a really long day." Why would a kidnapper care? Right? Why would a kidnapper tell you to get a good night's sleep so you could go, they can go and pick up the money from you? What do they care about you? And then the other one is something like, "And it's going to be quite a bit of cash, so you better bring a bag big enough to hold it all." Why does the kidnappers care what size bag you bring to collect the money? Think about it. It's, number one, a woman wrote it, and a woman who is a mother wrote it. And so with no kidnapping, so the only woman who was a mother in the house is Patsy Ramsey.
Do you think the writing itself looks like a woman?
I don't know. I never thought about that. The language certainly does to me.
All right, how about we'll put it on the screen here.
And when you kidnap somebody, you write basically, I have your daughter. I want $50,000 in $1 bills, and I'll call you shortly.
Is this it right here?
You don't just keep writing and writing and writing and writing and writing.
Yeah, you would. I know. Yeah.
You just.
Yeah, it's like my mom when I say, "Hey, Mom, how's it going?" She goes, "Well, this day started off. Oh my God, great! I went into the store," and she goes on and on. It's like a 45-minute diatribe about how she got into, how long it took to get into her car, and then I
No,
got,
I know. I said,
Yeah.
what I tell you what my mom used to do. She used to say, you remember the girl that lived, Lisa, that lived down the block? And I'd say, no. And she said, well, don't you remember that Lisa's mother came here that time with the cake? And I told her, no, I didn't want any cake. And I said, no, I don't remember that. She said, yeah, but the cake was for the teacher, because it was her birthday. And it was the birthday also of the other little girl who lived on the other side. And I said, I don't know who Lisa is. I don't care about.
Yeah,
I don't care about a birthday cake. You're wasting my time.
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. It's just, my God.
Yeah, you see that? There's the letter. It's just too
Another
long.
page. There's another page, though, right? Oh, right there.
Yeah, it's like a page and a half long.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no real connection to any group. Hey, we are an international group of terrorists. The international group of terrorists don't write that,
Yeah,
Hey,
it sounds like on Die Hard, the movie.
Yeah.
When they started naming off like all these different terrorist groups and stuff because they weren't really that group.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so the letter is, I don't know about the handwriting, but I don't care about the handwriting. I just care about the language in the letter, and statement analysis is not always 100%, but I would say a real bona fide kidnapper sitting down and writing this long letter that sounds like a woman, it sounds like a mom writing it, like if I'm not a mom, but I can imagine a mom, sitting down and telling the kidnapper, now listen, this is what you have to do. Make sure you wear your warm sweater if you're going to go out there and kidnap that girl, because you're going to be really cold.
It's one thing sort of interesting, just looking at the ending here. Doesn't it look like they tried to hurry up at the end? You see how it's not a little bit smoother, and then it just kind of gets glumped up and a little more jagged. Like if you just get your eyes, you can even see it.
Yeah. And you know what else is, the kidnapper started it twice. On that pad, there was, it had, at the beginning, they started the letter. Yeah, here it is. Dear, Mr. Ramsey? It was Mr. and Mrs. Ramsey at first.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was on the pad, the guy, whoever they took, it was the mom's pad from her desk. And it had on another sheet, it had Mr. and Mrs. And then they stopped and started on another sheet, Dear Mr. Ramsey.
What'd be interesting is to, I could get ChatGPT to decipher it and then have it read from a female's voice and then one from a male voice and see if it sounds.
That would be, that would be so cool. It would hot again, because, having a woman, you could tell right away.
Mm-hmm.
The woman would, it would sound weird. Oh, do it. Can you do it right now?
I think I can decipher handwriting. It's amazing how it just.
Yeah.
It actually can do it so well. It's absolutely.
Yeah, wear clean underwear if you're going to go kidnap that girl, just in case they catch you. You don't want to be in jail with dirty underwear.
All right, let me do the first page. And it does it pretty quick. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I was doing ChatGPT the other day and really liked it.
All right. And I have it set for a female already. Let's see what it says. This kind of.
Can you get it to the sound?
Oh, you not hear it? You can't hear it?
No.
Oh, yeah. Let me. It does. Let me. I got to turn off the echo thing. Hold on a second. So it might echo. I'm not really sure, but I think you can hear it now. If I hold on a second. Jeez.
Usage policies. Did we get it wrong? Please tell us by giving this response a thumbs down.
Yeah, can you hear me right now? I'm trying to figure out.
I heard you, and there's
Yeah.
echo.
Yeah, it's echoing because it doesn't play audio unless I turn off echo cancellation. All right, so let me just do this again. Hold on. Decipher handwriting sample. All right, here we go. I'm gonna put it in there.
Please upload the handwriting sample, and I will
Can you hear
analyze
that?
it for you.
Can you hear that voice?
If the handwriting is not clear, providing context or key details will help improve accuracy. Here's the deciphered text from the handwriting sample. Mister, listen carefully. Usage policies. Did we get it wrong?
Oh, shit.
Please tell us by giving this response a thumbs down.
Huh. Not sure why it's not doing it. There must be something. I've been able to do it before, but it's saying it's something, kind of some sort of usage policy. I don't know. Weird.
You gotta say thumbs up, thumbs down, something like that.
Oh, okay. Maybe I didn't do the right thumbs. Hold on a second. Decipher handwriting. Okay.
Deciphering handwriting can be tricky, depending on how legible or messy it is.
Decipher.
Here are some steps to make the process easier.
Hold on. Decipher.
Just read it.
Benet. I can't because then it's not doing it. Ramsey handwriting.
The handwriting associated with the JonBenet Ramsey case is primarily linked to the ransom note found at the crime scene. This note has been analyzed.
Okay, here's the transcribe.
Oh, this gets kind of interesting.
This content may violate our terms of
Did we
use
get it wrong?
or usage policies.
tell us-
Did we get it wrong? Please tell us by giving this response a thumbs down.
Give it a thumbs down.
Yeah. And then let's see. I'll just say you got it wrong. And then yeah, it's weird. I did an entire like 10-page thing. Well, during that Delphi trial, there would be notes that people would take, and I guess there's got to be a place out there that just has it already, though, right? Well, shoot.
Oh, well, look, let me turn off the echo for a minute.
Okay. Echo's turned off.
Let me see if I can find somebody that's reading it.
That's so weird.
Oh, here it is. Well, it's podcasters.
Oh, no, yeah, don't have that playing. 'Cause it'll...
I'm not sure that would be good to read, the audio. Well, I can, but it says Ramsey note narrated. See, I don't know. I don't want to do two YouTubers at one time. It may like explode my computer. No, I'm scared to do that.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah,
Have you done that before? Where you?
Yeah, I have that.
And with chat using
Oh, wait,
chat.
here we go. I said it didn't violate it, so I'm not really sure.
What's that
let me
big blue?
I'm gonna try it one more time.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I want to hear it.
Decipher and written note. This does not violate terms of service. And put it in there, and let's see. Okay, there it is.
Is it going to read it?
Well, I have a thing that does read it. It doesn't. It doesn't. This didn't violate.
Did it read it?
Well, no, it's not because it still just has that same stupid error that pops up on the screen.
Oh, what's that blue thing at the bottom? You see the round blue button? What does it say?
Oh, right down here it says stop sharing.
Oh, okay. I just thought it was
No.
like
I didn't mean to do that.
something to do with the audio thing. But if you can get it to work, that's worth
Yeah.
that's really interesting.
Let me see. Let me see if I can just get text of JonBenet Ramsey. What's it called?
JonBenet,
No, the
ChatGPT,
ransom. No.
ransom note.
Okay, so let's see if somebody has it written. Okay, there it is right there. Listen carefully. There it is. So let's see. Oh, I think I might be able to do this. It's in a PDF file. I wonder if I could, if I highlight it, and then let's see. I'll just take it out of here. Maybe I'll put it in Word or something. I'm just trying to get this figured out. But why don't you keep telling me about your opinion about it while
Okay, while he's doing that, okay, first of all, the ransom note to me is obviously Patsy Ramsey's note, unless there was a kidnapper who happens to be a mother who's a mom, a woman who's a mom. All right. Furthermore, it was the second time the person tried to write the note. It was on her yellow pad, and there was another attempt started. You saw that in the show. The other thing there's a couple other things that jumped out to me that give suspicions to everything else. And that is that the police actually went to China to try and find, they had DNA on the panties, and they went out to China thinking that the DNA was somebody in the factory who had, handled the clothes, because the girl was wearing new panties that night. Mother had taken them out of a bag. It turned out they were brand new pack, and they were too big for her. That's what I heard. And they figured that the DNA might be from the Orient, Asian. I don't know why they thought that, but they did. So in doing this show, John Ramsey comments, he says, I don't know why the police would go to Asia to find the DNA of a white guy. Well, how does he know it's a white guy? DNA, CODIS and stuff is just blank. It's just CODIS. You match it or you don't. How do they know it's a white guy? That kind of bothered me. The other thing that bothered me, I do know people that were there early in the story to look over the evidence and stuff. And I think he might have it.
Hold on a second. So I do have I can do it now if you want.
Okay. Yeah, I do.
Okay. All right. I'm going to turn off my echo cancellation.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Mr. Ramsey, listen carefully. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. We respect your Bassines, but not the country that it serves.
Business.
At this time, we have your daughter in our possession. She is safe and unharmed, and if you want her to see 1997, you must follow our instructions to the letter. You will withdraw $118,000 from your account. $100,000 will be in $100 bills, and the remaining $18,000 in $20 bills. Make sure that you bring an adequate size attaché to the bank. When you get home, you will put the money in a brown paper bag. I will call you between 8 and 10 a.m. tomorrow to instruct you on delivery. The delivery will be exhausting, so I advise you to be rested. If we monitor you getting the money early, we might call you early to arrange an earlier delivery of the money, and hence an earlier pickup of your daughter. Any deviation of my instructions will result in the immediate execution of your daughter. You will also be denied her remains for a proper burial. The two gentlemen watching over your daughter do not particularly like you, so I advise you not to provoke them. Speaking to anyone about your situation, such as police, FBI, etc., will result in your daughter being beheaded. If we catch you talking to a stray dog, she dies. If you alert bank authorities, she dies. If the money is in way marked or tampered with, she dies. You will be scanned for electronic devices, and if any are found, she dies. You can try to deceive us, but be warned we are familiar with law JonBenet Ramsey enforcement countermeasures and tactics. You stand a 99% chance of killing your daughter if you try to outsmart us. Follow our instructions and you stand a 100% chance of getting her back. You and your family are under constant scrutiny, as well as the authorities. Don't try to grow a brain, John. You are not the only fat cat around, so don't think that killing will be difficult. Don't underestimate us, John. Use that good Southern common sense of yours. It's up to you now, John. Victory, SBTC.
That does kind of sound like how a woman would write it, right?
Right. Use your common sense. You know, grow a brain.
Didn't they find her body though? Like right
Turn
there.
off the echo.
Oh yeah. Echo.
Everybody, the freaks see that that's a woman, right? You want to read it in a man voice? Can you get it?
I was going to do that.
He's going to read it in a man voice.
Let me see what George sounds like. Let me get a different guy. Maybe a guy named David. I'll do that one. All right. So now I'm turning off, putting on echo again, or off echo or whatever. Okay, here we go.
Mr. Ramsey, listen carefully. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. We respect your bus signs, but not the country that it serves.
And by the way, it says business. They wrote it wrong. It says they put they spelled business bussines here. I don't know if that's how it was.
Mr.
written.
Ramsey, listen carefully. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. We respect your bus signs, but not the country that it serves. At this time, we have your daughter in our possession. She is safe and unharmed, and if you want her to see 1997, you must follow our instructions to the letter. You will withdraw $118,000 from your account. $100,000 will be in $100 bills, and the remaining $18,000 in $20 bills. Make sure that you bring an adequate size attaché to the bank. When you get home, you will put the money in a brown paper bag. I will call you between 8 and 10 a.m. tomorrow to instruct you on delivery. The delivery will be exhausting, so I advise you to be rested. If we monitor you getting the money early, we might call you early to arrange an earlier delivery of the money, and hence an earlier pickup of your daughter. Any deviation of my instructions will result in the immediate execution of your daughter. You will also be denied her remains for a proper burial. The two gentlemen watching over your daughter do not particularly like you, so I advise you not to provoke them. Speaking to anyone about your situation, such as police, FBI, etc., will result in your daughter being beheaded. If we catch you talking to a stray dog, she dies. If you alert bank authorities, she dies. If the money is in way marked or tampered with, she dies. You will be scanned for electronic devices, and if any are found, she dies. You can try to deceive us, but be warned we are familiar with law JonBenet Ramsey enforcement countermeasures and tactics. You stand a 99% chance of killing your daughter if you try to outsmart us. Follow our instructions, and you stand a 100% chance of getting her back. You and your family are under constant scrutiny, as well as the authorities. Don't try to grow a brain, John. You are not the only fat cat around, so don't think that killing will be difficult. Don't underestimate us, John. Use that good Southern common sense of yours. It's up to you now, John.
That wasn't the right voice.
Yeah, you needed like a deeper voice, right?
Or with an accent. A foreign
an accent.
Turn the echo off.
Oh. Yeah. Keep forgetting.
Yeah, we are a small group of individuals. Who cares?
Yeah.
I forget what else they said.
You stand a 97% chance of killing your daughter if you try to outsmart us. Follow our instructions, and you stand a 100%. I thought this part here seems like it sounded like if it was the wife saying, don't try and grow a brain, John.
Yeah, sounds like a wife.
Right. You're not the only fat cat around, so don't think that killing will be difficult. Don't underestimate us, John. Well, when was this? Was this found like right at the same time, like when?
Yeah, Patsy said she found it on the stairway.
Right.
She went to go get her coffee, and she found it before anything else.
Right. So I mean, so doesn't it sound? Isn't it ludicrous for somebody to leave a ransom note, but then leave the kid downstairs? I mean, you killed JonBenet and then you leave and put a ransom note for what reason? It seems like the ransom note was there so that you wouldn't look into the basement, and you would think that she was gone, right? Because what would be the point of leaving a ransom note?
Yeah, well, eventually you're going to find her. Somebody's going to go in there and find her eventually, but maybe it was to hold off in finding her. Right.
To me, it seems like you're putting the ransom note there to keep law enforcement from looking any further.
Yeah.
For her, like maybe down in the basement or something,
Yeah.
Like you're just kind of like, oh man, she's not here. Everybody, let's get out of here. Let's start looking.
Yeah. Well, another thing was the pineapple. They don't mention the pineapple is, they found a bowl of pineapple and milk on the kitchen counter, and that was JonBenet's favorite snack. And they found pineapple in her gut, in her belly. So she had eaten pineapple within the last few hours before she died, and they didn't serve pineapple at the party where they had gone to. And so when they came back, she ate pineapple, and nobody mentioned that. And the mother's fingerprints were on the pineapple bowl. That was it. There was no other. So they didn't mention that in the documentary. And then let's see. Another thing is that they showed you a piece of glass on top of the suitcase, and they just showed you that one piece of glass. Actually, most of the glass was outside the house, where, if you smash something, and if you're trying to, break into a house, the glass is going to be smashed inside to the house. If you're staging a crime scene, it's going to be outside the house as a rule. Mm-hmm. So some people believe that the crime scene was staged. Somebody moved a suitcase over there. Somebody broke the window. A few pieces of glass came in the house. It's possible. You break glass, a few pieces are going to come in. But they didn't talk about that either.
Yeah. Well, Zozo thought her name was mentioned in it because when I tried to read the screen, let me go back to the... hold on a second. Share entire screen. This middle one. Let me get back to her. Yeah, there we go. So right here, there's a picture of her, and it has her name below it, and the software that I use read that. Okay. So that isn't part of the note. The note's just the words in here.
Yeah.
You want me to try to get a foreign voice to do it?
What is that? Is that, say it again? What is that? I was reading the comments because I don't get to read a lot of them. Oh,
Zozo was just wondering, thought that, wow, how would he know how to spell her name in the letter? Because it read it, but it wasn't actually the letter. There it is right there. Look, now it's different.
Somebody transcribed it. Is that it? Or
yeah, it looks like that's not transcribed there. I did. That's what I do have. That's what I just went and got. Let me see. Does it have it on there? No.
That's true. They don't have her name in the note.
Yeah, her name's not in the note. Listen carefully. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign. I could try to use a different voice if you want.
Yeah.
Man, everything's like frozen on the screen here. Not sure what's going on. I think it was in here. I do have other voices, like all voices. There's different people from different countries,
Yeah, how about somebody from the Middle East reading it?
Let's see. Now there's maybe India or let's try this one. Oh, that was Ireland. No. Let me try this one. Hold on. Okay. Okay, hold on a second. This one's pretty funny. Okay, I'm turning off echo cancellation so you can hear it.
Amor, Ramsey. Listen carefully. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. We respect your business, but not the country that it serves. At this time, we have your daughter in our possession. She is safe and unharmed, and if you want her to see 1997, you must follow our instructions to the letter. You will withdraw $118,000
Oh, they're reading the
from
numbers.
your account. $100,000 will be in $100 bills and the remaining $18,000 in $20 bills. Make sure that you bring an adequate size attaché to the bank. When you get home you will put the money in a brown paper bag. I will call you between 8 and 10 and tomorrow to instruct you on delivery. The delivery will be exhausting, so I advise you to be rested. If we monitor you getting the money early, we might call you return and earlier delivery of the money and hence a higher pickup of your daughter.
It's too hard to understand because they actually let me turn off echo again.
It's not the accent.
Yeah,
It's the
reading
intonation.
It's reading the numbers in the language that they're from.
It's the intonation. It's more like you don't want, hey, I got your daughter. Hey,
Right.
I'm a small group of people. What you want? Hey, I got your daughter. I'm going to kill her. Give me the money. You want bang.
Somebody's asking if you saw the original DNA reports from the case.
No, I didn't.
Did they say anything have you?
No, I
Yeah,
haven't.
somebody else, maybe Muddy Paws saw them. I don't know.
I don't know. If I did it, no, I don't think they released those. But anyway, I think there's only 3 people in the house, and maybe one of those people. And the only place they can really get DNA, and it's going to make sense, is the center of that knot that was used to garrot her.
Uh-huh.
That's the only one, because the rest of the house is contaminated with the parents' DNA.
Yeah, apparently they're saying they didn't test that, though, right? The knot.
No, not yet. No, not yet. That if they want to start testing things, they can do that. If they reopen the case and stuff like that and start testing things. But the thing is, they're going to come up with the parents' DNA on almost everything in the house. Yeah. So, it's everybody screaming about DNA, but in reality, and they, the thing is, John Ramsey at the end gives a soliloquy, a monologue on how he misses his daughter, but he's grateful that she was there with him for 6 years. And and he goes on, and somebody snuck in the house, and he hopes, whatever he says, but you got to realize he's had 30 years to practice that speech. He's got 30 years to say, well, the reason we lawyered up was because our friends, pointed out to us that, when they went out of the church and all the people were on both sides of them, coming out, there was some kind of processional or protecting them from the media. He said, well, the people in the church wanted to protect us because they knew how bad we were feeling. Well, anytime John Ramsey said anything, he's got 30 years practice. So even if something bad happened in the house, he's already probably convinced himself that nothing bad happened, or if something bad happened, there was a reason for it, and he just isn't going to be forthcoming. And after 30 years say, hey, I was wrong. Guess what really happened? He's going to practice the speech to protect his family.
Yeah.
So whatever John Ramsey comes up with, okay.
Uh-oh. Somehow she just went poof. Well, come back on if you're out there. That was weird. I wonder if she clicked a button. But hey, in the meantime, guys, can you guys maybe like gift some memberships and try to reach the goal? We're currently about 40 short. It'd be nice to reach the goal. I'd appreciate it. I don't know where. Oh, there she is, right there. Yeah.
Always
There you are.
heart.
Now you're back on. You got disconnected.
Yeah, I did, but I came back. So you see, it's not that easy to get rid of me. So, thank you for everything. People are donating, memberships and everything. And thank you for that, because Gray is very generous with everything he does. He's, supported, several cases that we've solved that otherwise just were so, washouts and would never have ever been, solved or even attempted, but we're good company to do that. So, yeah. And we don't, I'm never going to buy my new plane. Let me tell you, I don't really, I do okay, but I'm not wealthy. I don't take any money out of the company. Rarely do I, let's put it that way. So yeah, they could have called an ambulance. They really could have. By then, why would you call oh, you know what, too? Let me tell you another thing. I don't know if you freaks know about statement analysis. What you do is there's a whole, it's not really, it's sort of been discredited to some extent.
Hey, before you get to that, I liked how smooth it was that you just called them freaks, It was like, It's just what we are, you know what I mean? It wasn't like you didn't even have to think through it. But anyway, go through it. You were talking about.
I was going to say, freaks, there's something called statement analysis. And what that is you analyze how people say things. And especially, they've analyzed a lot of 911 calls. And if you, here's a 911 call I will simulate. I call 911 and I say, oh my God, I just found my sister on the floor. And she looks like she might be dead and there's blood all over. Help me. I'm so scared. Please come help. Help me. That's a sign of a fake 911 call, because it's just a sign, because the person's talking about themselves. Here's, a real one would say, oh my God, my sister, she's dead on the floor. Please come quick. Help her. She's dying. I don't know if she's dead or not. She needs help. You're talking about the person you just found and the scene you just found. That's a real call. So if you, so another thing that fake 911 people do is they want to tell you a story. They're calling in the dispatcher to tell a story. If you've seen The Staircase and the guy on the staircase, Peterson, and his wife fell down the stairs, he's a mystery writer. And you listen to those 911 calls, he's telling you a story. And when they tell the story, the dispatcher, they don't really answer all the questions. They don't say everything they need to say about the emergency. So what happens is the guy's going, oh, she fell down the stairs and, she's at the bottom of the stairs and it's so terrible and she might be dead. And the dispatcher will ask questions that you're not prepared for. And the dispatcher will say, well, how many stairs did she fall down? And the guy will say, what? If it's a fake call, a lot of times people wind up saying what a lot, because they're trying to tell you a story and they get interrupted and they don't have the answer, and they buy a moment or two to collect themselves and get the answer. So when you see the staircase, and you have to read the transcript. You really can't listen so much. You can listen, but it's better if you read the transcript. That guy in the staircase that supposedly killed his wife, but he says she fell down the stairs. He does that a lot. He says, "What? How many stairs did she fall down? What?" Because it's not
like,
part
hey,
of the story.
Yeah, you're not even asking questions related to my story. Come on, let me.
Right. Hurry! I want to get back to the story.
Yeah.
And then with Patsy too, the person telling the story puts a lot of details in there that you really don't need to know in the middle of emergency. Like, oh, my mom dead. She's on the floor. I think she's dead. She's been living in this house for 30 years. Why?
Yeah, nobody cares about the 30 years. Right?
You're developing a character. And that's what the mom said. Patsy said, "Oh, my daughter, she's been kidnapped. She has blonde hair." You can listen. All those calls are online.
But maybe if she wants to say that she's kidnapped, the blonde hairs part is about to see if you can see her out there.
Yeah.
Instead of just something random.
Right. Yeah. So, and I see somebody said that John Douglas goes for the intruder. That's interesting. I like him.
Oh, cool. Look at that one right here. It said, I was recently watching an unidentified doe iceberg. Not sure what that is. And one of the identified Jane Does was paid for by Gray.
That's cool.
I'm not sure which one that was, but
yeah.
And Money Paws wanted to know up above that. She said, "So, in your opinion, do you think the parents were involved?"
They could be. They could be, and it's. And when you ask that, there's a number of ways they are involved because they were there and they screwed up the crime scene. So this question is, did they do harm to their daughter? Nobody has answered that question.
But it's weird because like the note doesn't match even what happened to JonBenet.
Yeah.
Right? So you got this note, oh, we're going to behead her, we're going to do all these things. And
they
were never gone with her to have realized what was in the note. So the note was for a different purpose.
Yeah.
That's the part to me, like the note's written, you can analyze it all day long, but it's the purpose of the note is the weird part to me. And it shows that, to me, it makes it seem more like there's somebody in the house that wrote it, because a killer would have, if they were writing the note, they would have actually taken her. They literally, they don't really get the part like a killer goes in and kills and then writes in the ransom note. For what reason? You would just get that out of there,
The theory is that they wrote they were going to take her and they couldn't get her through the window or something like that. They couldn't get her out of the house, so they killed her and left.
So they left the note first, and then downstairs. Where was the note found? On the stairs?
It was found on a staircase. Patsy found it. She got up to get coffee early in the morning, and she was going downstairs to the kitchen, and she found it on the staircase.
Why didn't they just go out the front door with her then? Why did they climb? Why didn't they just leave the note down in the basement then?
Yeah, I don't get that. You know what? Somebody said, can you play the 911 call? Can you play Patsy's 911 call? You have it. It's all over the internet.
Yeah, but you guys, you got to get to the goal tonight. We're still 35 short. Let's see.
Everybody give $1. That should make Ray happy.
It should be so easy.
How many people on the chat today, on the show today?
We've got like 250.
250 people? God, I should have studied up on this stuff. I don't want to make any mistakes with that size audience.
Yeah. Well, here we go.
Okay, play the 911 call.
Oh, wait, you can't hear it until I turn off the...
Yeah, okay.
What's going on there, ma'am? We have a kidnapping. All right, please explain to me what's going on, okay? There's a note left in our daughter's note was left in your daughter's house. How old is your daughter?
6 years old. She's blonde. 6 years old.
How long ago was this?
I don't know. I just found the note. And my daughter's
Does it say who took her?
What?
Does it say?
I'm rewinding.
My daughter's
Does it say who took her? How long ago was this?
I don't know. I just found the note.
She said just found it, not got
Does it
it.
say who took her?
What?
Does it say who took her?
I don't know. There's a ransom note here.
It's a ransom note?
It says SBTC. Victory. Please.
Okay, what's your name? Are you
Kathy Ramsey. I'm the mother. Oh my God. Please.
Okay, I'm sending an officer over, okay?
Please.
Do you know how long she's been
No,
gone?
I don't. Please, we just got out. Is she right here? Oh my God, please.
Okay, well,
There's somebody.
I am, honey.
Please.
Take a deep breath,
Please.
okay?
Hurry.
Kathy, 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 Kathy.
She thought she'd hung up, I guess.
Patsy, Patsy.
Huh. I don't know what this is.
There's more.
Well, I don't know if there is on this. About over. It tells on the screen what they think they're hearing, but... Oh. Guess I... What are we listening to? I've got the video closed and I'm still hearing it. How is that possible?
I didn't hear anything about the blonde hair.
Hold on. What's that? Oh, is that you? Oh, let me turn off my...
That was me because I was trying to lower the volume.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't hear the blonde hair part on there.
That's why I think maybe you didn't have the whole thing. Yeah, Lou Schmidt, he thought it was an intruder. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Why would you leave the ransom note there? And then you try to get her out the window, so you killed a little kid that would never have been able to describe you? I don't know. It just doesn't make sense at all.
It doesn't, no. And they said that when she hung up, you could hear the son in the background saying what happened or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 6 years old, blonde. Yeah. Yeah, let me see what else they say. She immediately pushed kidnapping, gave the address, and said she was kidnapped. I'm so interested in knowing who killed the precious girl. That's Carolina. Hi, Carolina. Seriously, who has gotten away with murder? This is so disturbing. DNA is touch DNA. It profiles multiple people, not just one male. Okay. Yeah. So even some of the experts like John Douglas and Lou Schmidt said the intruder. And then my contacts say somebody was in the house. I mean, somebody in the house that did it.
Mm-hmm.
Burke, yeah. He said John said he didn't talk to Burke, but Burke, they heard Burke in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Here, let's see what Muddy Paws said.
Kill the relationship. Since the killer, it was really Patsy that pushed the whole.
Theory is the killer loathed the relationship John and JonBenet had, witnessed it at pageants, and since the killer was obsessed with JonBenet, seeing this tender father's relationship infuriated him. Thus is the tone in the note.
Well, again, the note was written by a woman.
Yeah. I mean that's.
I'm not going to argue. We don't look. It's okay if you don't agree with me, but it was written by a woman.
Hey, she sounds like me. Yeah. Hey, thanks, Toxic Tink and Muddy Paws there. Let me just read that last. Want me to try to read it? The note?
Yeah. Read it in kind of a really evil voice if you can manage. I don't know if you can manage that, Greg.
Listen carefully. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. We represent your business, but not the country that it serves. At this time, we have your daughter in our possession. She is safe and unharmed, and if you want her to see 1997, you must follow our instructions to the letter. How's that so far?
It sounds like a really nice guy trying to sound bad, like bad news.
You will withdraw $118,000. You want me to sound like that? Is that what you want me to sound like?
You just can't sound evil. You just can't sound evil. Like you sound like if I walked up to you and said, "You're the kidnapper, right?" You say, "Yeah, I asked for $118,000." I said, "Well, would you take like a cup of coffee at Starbucks?" You'd think, "Oh, well, you know."
No, I didn't say it like that. I didn't say I did like that. Okay. You will draw $118,000 from your account. $100,000 will be in $100 bills, and the remaining will be $18,000 in $20 bills. Make sure that you bring an adequate size attaché to the bank, because I wouldn't want you to have too small of a one. When you get home, I didn't say that part. When you get home, you will put the money in a brown paper bag. I will call you between 8 and 10 a.m. tomorrow to instruct you on the delivery. The delivery will be exhausting, so I advise you to be rested. If we monitor you getting the money early, we might call you early to arrange an earlier delivery of the money and hence a earlier pickup of your daughter. Any deviation of my instructions will result in the immediate execution of your daughter. You will also be denied her remains for a proper burial. The two gentlemen watching over your daughter do not particularly like you, so I advise you not to provoke them. So this guy's saying, okay, let me just finish it, I guess. Speaking to anyone about your situation, such as police, FBI, etc., will result in your daughter being beheaded. I mean, isn't that a ridiculous? If we catch you talking to a stray dog, she dies. You alert bank authorities, she dies. If the money is in any way marked or tampered with, she dies. She will be scanned for electronic devices, and if any are found, she dies. Why would she have electronic devices on her, though? You know what I mean? I'm just curious.
I thought it meant John had like a tracking device on him.
But I mean, these guys are. This is 1997.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true. And why would they say two gentlemen watching over your daughter?
Mm-hmm.
That's an upper class person. That
is weird. Yeah, it is. I mean, I thought that was weird too.
A terrorist doesn't say gentlemen. Hey, I have two gentlemen in the room with me.
Yeah. If the money is anyway marked or tampered with, she dies. You will be scanned for electronic devices, and if any are found, she dies. You can try to deceive us, but be warned, we are familiar with law and countermeasures and tactics. You stand a 99% chance of killing your daughter if you try to outsmart us. Follow our instructions, and you stand a 100% chance of getting her back. You and your family are under constant scrutiny, as well as authorities. Don't try to grow a brain now, John.
That's like a wife.
Right, exactly. Like, you stupid.
Yeah.
You're not the only fat cat around. So don't think that killing will be difficult. Don't underestimate us, John. Use that good Southern common sense of yours.
That's another mother saying that.
Right. It's like somebody really familiar with him.
Yeah.
Like, literally,
don't you yell, you're kind of shaking your finger at your kid. And you keep on and on. grow a brain. Don't listen. Don't do that. Come on. Use your common sense.
It sounds like she doesn't like him very much.
Yeah.
Like maybe she doesn't like how he gets along with their daughter or something.
Yeah, she has some kind of axe there, but
don't try to grow a brain, John. Don't try to grow a brain. Like now, they could have put now. Like, don't try to grow a brain now, John, but it's not in there.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you're saying, though.
Yeah.
Don't try to grow a brain, John. That's somebody that, and the thing is so the person writing this is somebody that John would know really well, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
because somebody who said that snarky, Plato is saying it sounds like a snarky woman. That it's a woman who's writing that letter.
I bet you Paz up there Muddy Paz doesn't agree, right?
Yeah, well, that's okay. You can agree. That's fine. But it was a woman that wrote it, so disagree with the truth if you want. Let's see. It was written by an older man who used movie quotes and language common to the... I see no evidence, Maureen, that it was written by an older man who watched old movies. I think that's kind of stretching it a little bit.
Okay, here we're going to let Muddy Paws has her rebuttal. It says, "This is an SA crime. The garrote was tightened and loosened 3 times. It's a device for torture. Everybody knows what a garrote is. You can't get past that."
I'm saying yes, I can, because I'm talking about the ransom note. I'm not talking about who killed her. So the ransom note was written by a woman who's a mom. Now, what happened after that, I don't know. I'm not commenting on it.
Like, you don't know why it was written or anything. You just know that the letter was written by
it was written. It's just a statement, a fact. It was written by a woman who was a mother. The end. Now, after that, what happened, and that is inconsistent with the fact that the girl was dead. Why write a ransom note? Maybe they didn't know. Who knows? And the girl was dead. You have to say, you're right, that's inconsistent, but it doesn't matter because the ransom note was written by a woman.
Yeah.
So,
also, that part about the $118,000 was the known amount was bonus. I mean, what a random thing to write. That means the person, here's the thing is this person knows John really well.
Yeah.
So why doesn't John know who this person is?
Well, that's what bothers me. Now, he probably didn't want to say because if it's wife or mother or family, because let me say, I was a college professor for a while, college teacher, and if I had a class of people who worked problems, and if somebody turned in their homework or their test and didn't have the name on it, I could tell you who did it. I could read it, and it's just like somebody talking to me. So if my spouse said to me, "Hey, grow a brain, will you?" and that winds up in a ransom note. Hey, I know it's my spouse. John reading that, maybe he doesn't have that knack or something, but when somebody reads something to me, if I know who wrote it. So
and maybe he does. Maybe it's sort of like in the Delphi case, Richard Allen's wife, who saw the picture of the bridge guy. And it must have looked just like her husband, but he said he wasn't on the bridge, so maybe maybe in this case, he's reading it and it does sound like her, but he's not willing to admit it.
Yeah. And by the time, there was time that went along when Patsy found the note, showed John, woke him up, blah, blah. There's a little bit of time in there. And by the time they called the 911, they've already decided, well, if they did it, if they were involved, they've already decided what they're going to say and how they're going to play it. If they are not involved, that call was genuine.
There's Muddy Paws again. You say it was written by a woman. Have experts stated in a report? I
can tell you, I saw a video. I don't know. All they did was match the handwriting. I don't know if they did that, but I did see a webinar on forensic linguistics. It was done by a forensic accountant because when you're an accountant and you do forensic work, you wind up reading a lot of legal documents. And you have to kind of figure out who really wrote them, where they're coming from. Was it the person in court or was it the witness? Was it the attorney? Was it half and half? So the guy had developed or knew several principles on forensic linguistics. So he could it's not just my opinion. It's something that I heard, and it light bulb went on. The guy's name was Daryl Dorrell, D-O-R, Daryl Dorrell, just like it sounds. And he's a forensic accountant. And if that video is online somewhere, you really ought to watch it. I am not the only one. It is, I let's say this. I've read a lot. I've seen a lot on this case, and that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, you're just like a thinker. What's cool is like the way you're confident about it is how I sound a lot, and people hate it. People hate when I sound confident about something.
Go ahead and hate me. Go ahead. You're not the only one. I have hate clubs out there somewhere. I know that, and it's sad, but it doesn't matter because it was written by a woman. So,
well, there you go.
Let's see. SBTC was the base Ramsey was at. I think it was someone who knew him. What's SBTC?
Yeah, what does that stand for?
Yeah, nobody seems to. Posey said that. No evidence that she was sexually assaulted. I don't know what SBTC S. Let me write S. Santa Barbara.
Everybody in here loves you, though. All right? Even if they disagree. Here's the thing. Well, you probably do, but I don't do. I don't do the agree to disagree thing.
Yeah.
When I know I'm right on something, like factually right, like it's hard to know factually in this case because it just really.
Public Works Center at Subic Bay Subic Bay Training Center.
Okay, what does that mean, though? I mean.
Well, she writes that's who she said had caused, was the small group of individuals, not a group of small individuals. It was more like a small group of individuals. Different.
So they weren't Oompa Loompas running around?
Like I have a small woman-owned business, and you can either say it's a small woman-owned business or it's a small woman-owned business, and both would be right. Yeah,
well, it's like saying, is that a road? What's that up in the road? Ahead? Or what's that up in the road ahead? It's the same words and everything. It's just how you say it. Yeah. So was there her blood mixed with some DNA? I mean, whose DNA? Like what DNA are you talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't separate it either. Like you have the major contributor you can, but not the minor.
Right, not in FTG. With regular, you can.
When it's 50-50 mixture, can you separate one? Or is it just
no?
You can't do it?
Not really. They have to use.
That's what's so weird. It's like you guys got to get to the point where you can grab a cell and get the DNA sequence.
They use maybe 50-50. You could do it probability wise, but
why can't you just take one cell that was in the mixture and get the actual sequence from that cell? Because that cell isn't mixed with another cell. It's just a cell by itself. Yeah. Like you got to get down to that level, right? Where you can grab a blood cell of a mixture of blood and then try to, and then you grab some more blood cells and then see, we got two different.
People are trying. They have single cell DNA experiments going on.
I mean, but the thing is, it seems like that technology should be out there because aren't they already doing like fertilizing, trying to, woolly mammoth kind of stuff where you're taking a cell and then injecting the genes out of so why isn't, I mean, I guess you're not getting a sequence doing that, but it just feels like.
Well, it's just one, it's just one cell. It doesn't have a whole lot. It's got 5 picograms in it.
But it's got every single bit of a strand in there.
Yeah, they have that.
So it seems like you should be able to get the DNA sequence out of one cell because it's all sitting in there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you should. And it's just such a low quantity. They're looking at it and they're working on it. But it's such a low, tiny bit of DNA that, what can you do with it? It's like,
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying, but it's DNA, but it's the full DNA. It's not like you got to try to
Yeah.
put it together. It's not old or anything.
Yeah,
Like you
you're
have
right.
two,
And
two blood mixtures.
yeah, but also remember that everything we do is based on statistics. So that when we do the whole genome sequencing and everything, they read more than once. They read the genome up to 30 times. And so sometimes you'll get a bad read. A SNP will be won't be read correctly, or you'll have machine errors and stuff. So you read on and on and on, and you get, the SNPs that are really show up all the time. Those are, high confidence, and then SNPs that sometimes get missed or just don't show up, a low confidence. And so it's all statistics. You may have some SNPs that show up all 30 times, and you may have some SNPs that show up 10 times. And so what are you going to do with the threshold? It's all statistics. So when you get just one cell, you don't have any more statistics. You just have that one cell. Do you believe it or not? Did the machine read it well or not?
Yeah, but it just seems like it shouldn't be. At some point, they need to be able to get in there,
Mm-hmm.
put a cell into a machine, and it gives you the sequence.
Oh, okay. I'll work on that later tonight.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Somebody at some point, that's going to be a thing, right? And that'll make, and it's instantaneous. Like you put it in here, and that way you put a mixture in, and it starts zipping through until it finds a separate cell, and then you go, boom, these are the two people, and see how it matches. I mean, it's like, I think that's going to be, I bet the next 10 years that's going to happen.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you know what? I want to say, once that starts, you're going to have a hell of a mess, because you have all kind of contamination around your house.
Right. There could be a cell from here and there.
The one cell would be interesting, like for a homicide or sexual assault.
Right, exactly.
Not for touch DNA or anything like that.
No.
And then suppose it's just an innocent person happened to, be at a party with the victim and brush by her and leave some touch DNA.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to do it. I think you'd have to not allow that for touch DNA, like have it mean anything at all. I mean, it might be good for investigative, like trying to look for a lead somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like you might find touch DNA and it leads to somebody that actually makes sense that something happened. And then that, again, that doesn't have to be part of, it's just the lead generation.
Yeah, right. Okay, I just want to tell goodnight to Richard. He's leaving now. Richard, hi, bye, Richard. Nice. Thanks for dropping in.
Yeah. Richard Watts got a personal goodbye.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. With a little kiss and a wave. Yeah, I like that. And I have an interest in also getting DNA from insects. So if you have a body full of insects, I'm wondering, the insects kind of cannibalize it in different states and phases. Excuse me, it's not the company. It's just a long day. So I'm interested in if you can get DNA from insects and sequence it and make it.
Yeah, like a mosquito, maybe.
Yeah, there's Richard. He's talking about Scotland. Richard, maybe it's time to go to bed if you're tired. In Scotland, it's like 17. It's like 9, and it's like 5 o'clock in the morning.
We got Zozo there. What does that equal? That's almost almost 5 years. 58 months as a freak, a channel member.
Oh, you can know that.
Yeah, it says right there, member for 58 months.
Okay.
I can put it right in the
I don't. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I don't get that.
448. Yeah, so 60 months would be 5 years.
Hang in there 2 more months, Zozo.
I don't know, man.
Get a square 5 years. I like it. You see, I don't like when, what something really bothered me is Johnny Carson's retired after 29 years and he didn't make 30. That really upset me because I thought he should just round out 30 years. Things like that bother me. But I don't lose sleep over them. But if I had enough of them, that would really get to me.
Well, okay. The question the poll question, just consider the first part. I meant to put family in there. Okay, so just it's family or unknown person. All right. So vote like that.
What do you want? What
No,
are you
I've
doing?
got a new poll. It says who killed JonBenet. I have parents, but I meant to put family or unknown person. You know, it's 56% are saying unknown person. It makes the story more interesting. You know, to have it be
Okay.
somebody
All
else.
right.
Yeah.
What's the answer? What are the freaks saying?
Well, that's what I'm saying. 54% say unknown person.
Oh, that's like half and half. That's within error,
Yeah.
statistical
It's a
error. That's,
rounding error. Yeah, we don't know.
yeah, yeah. Freaks. Let me ask you. Did you anybody on Netflix out there see the case of Lucy Blackman? Did anybody see that?
Which one was that?
The case of she was a stewardess,
Was that the
um,
Japanese thing?
flight attendant.
I started watching that one time, but I don't think I finished. I forgot about it after I watched the first part.
Yeah, I would say I'm going to recommend that over the JonBenet thing. You know, irregardless of what really happened to that house, the Netflix special was not really good. Was not good. I didn't like it. Let's put it that way. I didn't like it. But Lucy Blackman, I recognize because it's a true story that it's very interesting how they figured it out because she goes to Japan for 6 months and she disappears. And her father finally, nobody's heard from her. She doesn't go to work. And her father flies to Japan from the UK and he goes to her apartment. He stands outside the apartment. He's trying to figure, you know, and he turns to the police officer and he said, did you look at the surveillance cameras, the video cameras to see when she left or when she came back? And they look at him and they say, we don't use video cameras. We don't use it. And he goes, you got to be kidding me. We have them on every corner in Great Britain and they all made in Japan.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I watched a lot of it because I remember he was so frustrated.
Yeah.
Going back and forth, and it was like years, wasn't it?
And he wanted to, you know, we set up a press conference, we set up a hotline, you know, we put posters out, but the Japanese don't do any of that. They just sort of figure it out. And then they did, you know, eventually they figured something out. You have to watch it. I don't want to give it away, but so that's a good one. And that's something we can, you know, next time I come, we can always talk about that one because that one. And, you know, I want to tell you there's another Japanese case that you have to be aware of. And this is on YouTube. I don't think I saw it on Netflix. It's called the Setagaya case. Is anybody familiar with the Setagaya case? You can type in the chat. Let me know. That is an amazing case that needs to be solved. I'd love to dig in, but oh yeah, here we are. I'm gonna knows that one. It's a family of 4 and going into I think New Year's Eve 2000 in Japan, you know, houses are really small. They tend to be up and down and not sideways. And this house was one of the few left in a park that the city was buying up to make the park bigger. And it was a double house and it was separated by soundproof walls. And in one house was a mom, a dad, and 2 kids, a boy who was about 8, a girl who was about 5, maybe the girl's 6 and the boy's 5 or something. And somebody broke into the house, actually climbed a fence, went into the upstairs bathroom, walked in the house, strangled the boy first, smothered him, and then attacked the father to the point the knife got stuck in his skull. And then mother and daughter came down trying to escape, and the mother's face was obliterated, basically. And then the little girl was killed. And then the guy stayed in the house for hours.
What's the name of that one?
It's called Setagaya.
How do you spell that?
Seta, Setagaya.
Oh, almost exactly how you.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say that's a really good one because
that's on Netflix too.
I know it's on YouTube. I don't know if it's on Netflix.
What do you? Is it like the Setagaya?
Yeah, Setagaya. Just do
like a documentary, or I mean, what's it?
Yeah, it's like a half-hour documentary on the case, And the thing is, let me finish. The guy was actually in the house for several hours. He went to the refrigerator. He ate ice cream. He ate melon. He drank some of the tea. He used the bathroom, didn't flush. He takes all the dad's papers, throw it in the bathtub. He's all over the house. And he injures himself, and he bleeds all over the house. He wraps his hand in mom's stuff. And then he even takes a nap. And then he changes clothes. He takes the dad's clothes, put them on. He leaves his own clothes behind, except for the shoes. And then he disappears. And the other people, one of the aunts came and tried to find the family the next morning because they hadn't answered the phone. And the wife's mother and sister lived next door in the other half of the soundproof, behind the soundproof wall. And they didn't hear anything all night. They may have heard like a thud or something, like when the mom and the little girl were in the attic sleeping. They had a bedroom up there, so they had to put the stairs down to come down, and that's what they think they heard, the thud. And so the guy in Japan, you can't ask anybody for their DNA. Like if you're a serial killer and you walk up to somebody and say, "Hey, we need to get your DNA," and they say no, that's the end of the story. You can't have the DNA. So they have a very small database. They have compared the DNA to like the database in Korea, because Korea has fingerprint records, and they have, when you come to Korea, they'll take your fingerprints. And when everybody in Korea has been fingerprinted. I don't know about DNA, but when they did they compared the Y DNA, and the father is Asian. He's either Japanese, Korean, maybe Chinese, but lower chance. And then they did the mother, and the mother's Caucasian along the maternal line, the Mito. So it's a mixed race. They say it's a mixed race person. They don't, the mother could have been married to a Japanese. But anyway, so they go through, they find out he left a puffer jacket. They find out like it's one of 20 puffer jackets sold within a certain amount of time. It's a very expensive jacket. They find the sushi knife he brought with him. They got that. They got and then one thing is he left his fanny pack behind. And the fanny pack, which is really weird, has sand in it. And the sand, there's only one place on earth you can find the sand. You know where that is? You're not going to believe it. It's on Edwards Air Force Base in California. That's the only place you find that kind of sand. And
now, when was this? Was it back in the day?
2000.
So that's when people did more the old school kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of.
They had some DNA, but it's December 30th to December 31st, 2000. So it was almost to 2001. Oh, and it was on Netflix. Is it on Netflix? I know it's on YouTube. It's like a half an hour on YouTube. On Netflix, in Japan, they have a 24-hour guard on this house still after 25 years. They have a 24-hour a day guard. They have.
Why is that?
Because that's the law. They protect the crime scene. And violent crime in Japan is unknown. If you kill somebody, you murder somebody, it's an automatic death penalty. So
it's that one guy that ate people. He was like a cannibal, and they let him out.
Yeah.
I don't know why they did that. He was like
you have to think about things like
killer.
that.
Yeah.
So they don't have a real DNA database. They don't have any way to solve it. The law says Japan's really strict on DNA. They have, my understanding is they've compared it to some paternity databases. When somebody goes to get the paternity of their child checked and everything, they have those databases, but it didn't show anything. So.
Hey, put your face closer. Let's show them what it looked like when we did the.
Don't look. Okay.
Oh, look at this. They have this thing out here. You got to do your own, but I'll do mine. They have this touch-up thing. Look at this, ludicrous. Watch this. Look at me now. Like I don't have any. I must feel like I. Look at her. Like we have no marks on our face at all. We're just like these perfectly. There's no freckles or anything. Look at that. Makes her look like she's like a raccoon or something. Look at that. It's crazy. Oh yeah.
Can I turn it off now?
Yeah, yeah. That's thought it would be funny.
Now that y'all make fun of how I look, I'm going to turn it off.
Yeah. There we go.
There you go. Now I'm normal.
That's
I still look like a raccoon. That bothers me.
No, but at least your face has texture to it.
Yeah.
The before it looked like it was just this mass of skin with two eyeballs and a mouth sticking out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like Pillsbury Doughboy, but not really. Kind of my style. Anyway, look at that one. That's a really good one. That's one we could. You know what, Gray? You should really look into that one. That would be a great one to talk about on the show. You know, get all.
And maybe we'll watch it, and then you can come on and we can all talk about it.
Oh, I would. That's one of my favorite cases.
So Setagaya, that one.
Yeah, Setagaya. That's the name of the park. That's the name of the
park.
That's not the name of the family. It's the name of the park.
And he killed a bunch of people.
For the family, the mom, the dad, and the two kids, and nobody knows who he is.
And that's also Japan too, right?
What?
That was also Japan.
Yeah, that was Japan. It's Japan's biggest unsolved case.
So you got that one and the
and Lucy Blackman.
Lucy Blackman. Yeah.
I have plenty, that I've looked into. If you want, I can tell you another one. I don't know, and this is another one we can talk about. This one's great. Australia looks like this, and at the top there's nothing in the interior of Australia. Nothing. There's a highway that goes straight through Australia, and there's a highway that goes this way. And right where they meet is this little town called Larama. And the case is called, you can find it on YouTube and Netflix. It's called What Happened to Patty Moriarty? Patty Moriarty.
How do you spell that? Feels like I've done that one.
Okay, Morarity. What happened to?
It must be an I, like an I.
Moriarty. Moriarty. Yeah.
Wait.
Have you done it?
Well, I have there's somebody named Moriarty here. I don't know if that was the.
What are you looking at? Is that Google Earth?
Google Earth, because I have them on the left every case that I've ever covered.
Well, there you go. I suggest
Kelly Moriarty. That one. Kelly.
No, Patty.
Yeah.
Patty. Paddy.
Wow, how many Moriartys? You've done a lot of true crime when you have an extra Moriarty in a folder.
I know.
That's pretty wild. Anyway, so what do you know about that?
Okay, look, that one, I'm going to tell you guys you should look this up, because look up where Larama, Larrimah. Larrimah. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's 500 to 1,000 miles. It's a little teeny weeny town on the highway. There it is. That runs like through Australia. It's a town, and it only had 11 people in it. And one of them was named Patty Moriarty. He's an Irish guy, and he had a dog named Kelly. And they used to go every day to the local bar, which is one of the only buildings in town. And they'd sit around, have beer. He'd be the bartender. He'd talk to, the people who came by for a rest stop or to eat something at the restaurant. And he disappeared one day with his dog. And in his house, it was almost like somebody came to the door and he walked out, because there was food in the microwave and stuff like that. And so now that there's only 11 people and one of them disappeared, the other 10 become persons of interest. And the whole video is what happened to Patty and how come nobody knows anything. What happened to Patty Moriarty? And they go and they explain, everybody fights in this town. There's only 10 people and everybody fights with everybody else. So everybody has a motive. All 10 people have a motive.
Ah. Did they ever get to the answer at the end?
No. He and his dog both completely disappear. It's almost like somebody came to the door that he knew, and then that was it. He walked out with him with the dog, and they never saw either one.
They don't know that he's been killed then, actually. Right?
They don't know he's been killed, but he left everything he owned behind. He didn't take anything with him.
He could have gone out. I mean, this is a horrendous. Like, you start walking somewhere and maybe went after his dog, and You know, maybe
No,
right
no. Yeah, you're right. But no, that wasn't the circumstance. The dog, he rode around with the dog all the time. The dog was with him 24/7. You know, the dog wouldn't have run off. And look, it's in the middle of absolutely nowhere.
But could you, I mean, I guess you could just say that it's possible he wandered off and died, because we see cases like that. Like he went somewhere with his dog and then maybe he got turned around and it's so hot out there, you know, but you know, I guess I'd have to see the story to know what the hell.
Yeah, you should watch the story, because every day he did the same thing. I think that orange area is the dump. They had a dump. That could have been the dump over there. And you walk over there every day and he come back, and then he'd go with his dog to the canteen, sit around, talk to the people at the bar in the canteen and entertain them. And then that's it. And that, you know, he had a routine. And then one day he didn't show up, and they went to his house and the doors unlocked, open, the screen doors there, food in the microwave, you know, like he was going to feed the dog, and leftovers from the night before kind of being heated up, and he's gone and never saw him again. Everything he owned was still there, though. It only had 11, now it has 10 people left.
That's funny. I saw that hotel.
Okay, where's the canteen? Because I'll tell you where he lived. Where's the... Yeah, they have like, you see that tiger or that blown up? Yeah. Panther, Pink Panther's there. He's down the street right from there. I think the other, I think it's the other direction.
Yeah.
And they had a lady across the street from him that sold meat pies, so you could stop and have one of her pies.
Oh, you got to get the 4 and 20 meat pies.
Yeah, the black.
I went to Australia. You've eaten those, right? The 4 and 20 meat pies.
Yeah.
Those are so good. They're like the little ones you get at the game, like the footy games.
Yeah, I didn't get that one, but I'm gluten free, so I couldn't eat the pie anyway. So go down the street a little bit. He was on the left. And the meat pie lady right there, that's the meat pie lady underneath the white awning there. And he lived across the street from her. And that's Patty's house across the street.
Right over here?
Yep. Somewhere, I think that house is his. That's where he disappeared from. I'm pretty sure that was his house.
Maybe that's
him. Of course, no, Patty was really skinny. He was an Irish skinny guy.
Looking at him.
So I think that was his house. Somewhere like that might be his house. But he lived across the street from the meat pie lady.
Huh. Maybe I'll take a look at that one too. Hey, there's a whole bunch of things to look at.
Yeah. I'll come back. I like to kick it around a little bit with the freaks, you know, just to see, you know, what they think, you know, if we can come up with some genius ideas, you know, what's going on and stuff like that. You know, they may come up with the answer. Who knows? But this place is like out in the middle of nowhere. You know, it's like away from anything. And that's it. You know, he just disappeared. He rode around like a little golf cart all the time, you know, to go back to to go over to the canteen and back. He'd ride around and he had his routine, but then he just disappeared.
They must have got water, like a well or something out there. I mean,
yeah, there's somewhere. I know they did something. I mean, they survived. So Patty died somewhere. I don't know where's the canteen. Can you show us with the arrow?
No, I thought it was just down right.
Yeah. It's where the Pink Panther's sitting and then he's down the street from the canteen. Yeah, that's the Pink Panther there. So he's like to the left, maybe off screen a little bit, or is he up on top? Yeah, maybe he's up on sort of top.
There's the Pink Panther right there.
Okay, and turn around to the left. Yeah, left. He's like right there. No, too much. No, too much. No, yeah, I think that's his house. It's across the street from the meat pie lady. See, that's the meat pies. Yeah, there it is. Larama meat pies or whatever. And they had like a Larama hotel. Okay, that's the hotel. I don't think it's the meat pie place. Maybe the meat pie. Yeah, is a little bit further. Yeah, I don't.
Maybe it's like not really meat pies, but it's a restaurant.
Yeah. Restaurant. Maybe that's Patty's house to the upper left. It's one of those houses. That looks more like no, that doesn't look like it.
I'm just kind of walking around.
Yeah. It's a very small area, so you can walk as much as you want.
It could be this place here, like the classic Aussie beer, and maybe that's also selling meat pies.
Yeah.
Is there a documentary on it or something? Or?
Yeah, it's on YouTube and it's on Netflix, and it's there like 20-minute long type parts to it.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's somewhere like on the edge of town, which is nothing because the town is only 10 people. How can you live on the edge of 10 people? So it's like that's life. You know, they must have water and supplies from somewhere. And he kept a nice house. You know, they show you inside the house and everything. He didn't have any trouble. And the dog was with him all the time. Kelly was his dog.
It does say right here, the pie shop owner lived across from Moriarty, Fran Hodgetts, and lived in...
Oh, Fran Hodgetts was her name, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He lived across from Fran, and they didn't get along too well. So she was a person of interest. And then there was a guy that lived in a trailer in her yard, and he didn't like Patty either.
Hmm. Well, we got that one now. We got 3 of them to look at.
Right. You're going to be busy. I'll come up with some more, but you're going to be busy.
All right. Cool. Well, you got any other, what do you got? Any thoughts you want to still put on Ramsey's case?
No, there's, it's hard for me to believe that it was somebody outside the house. It's hard, but it's not impossible. I think that DNA is not going to be the way that it goes. There's really no way. DNA is all over the house, and DNA, you almost worship it like a god, but DNA is not infallible. I mean, sometimes you just can't get DNA. What do you do about it?
Yeah, maybe they need. Well, they were people saying they didn't test the Garrot and.
Yeah, right. I
don't know why you wouldn't test that. But.
Yeah, and it's Patsy Ramsey's paintbrush, so her DNA is going to be on the paintbrush. Her fingerprints are going to be.
Oh, so it was a Garrot made of stuff from the house.
Yeah, it was a handle of a paintbrush, of her paintbrush.
Oh, that's ridiculous. You guys, listen. Wouldn't a killer? So a killer came in there to abduct her, but had a pre-written note. So they leave the note sitting there. Then they go downstairs and go, gosh, darn it, we can't get her out this window. So let's go ahead and make a Garrot and kill her, even though this person doesn't know who we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That doesn't sound like just logically doesn't sound like somebody coming from outside.
Yeah. It's just so weird. You put all that stuff together and then you realize that there's only one answer.
Yeah, then all of a sudden you run around. Where did the brush? So down in the basement there was a brush sitting there?
She had a paint box, a paint what's it called? Like a kit.
So it was one of JonBenet Ramsey's brushes, but it was down in the basement.
It was one of Patsy's.
Yeah, so how did Patsy's brush get down into the basement?
Because she did artwork down there. She painted.
Okay,
she had a paint. What's it called? Like not an easel, but I forget what she did. But
right. So there was a reason for it to be down there. Though.
Yeah. And so they took one of those things and they took the handle from the paintbrush. That's what they used for the Garrot.
And doesn't it seem like a killer that came from the outside wouldn't untighten it and tighten it and tighten it and untighten it 3 different times?
Well,
that sounds like somebody hesitating, like you're a family. I don't know. You see, that's the thing. Who would do that to their kid? Right. You could say, let's say you were going to kill your kid because you're so angry, but you kind of change your mind a couple times, but you tighten it.
Maybe they thought she was dead. Maybe they thought she was already dead.
Yeah.
But she wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's, I don't know. That's hard to believe the parents would do something.
I guess you can see why people just keep talking about it over and over and over and over.
Because you don't ever believe that a parent could do that. And then, if they did it, well, there's got to be an explanation, why, what happened, or they're protecting Burke, are they protecting their status? Did they not want to, get their other child, lose their other child who had hit JonBenet in the head, or is it the mother making everybody believe that that's what happened? Or, maybe the mother fooling the father into believing she was kidnapped and then finding her in the basement. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess maybe one of these days I'll have to go dig around, because I know the story just in general, because just heard it so many times.
Cobwebs on the window. That was something else somebody said. The fact the basement had been searched, then went back later, searched again, found her, picked her up, and carried. Yeah, he ruined the crime scene by doing that.
So when they searched it earlier, how did they not see her?
She was in there's a big basement, right?
Yeah.
And it was a closet off the side of the basement. So it was a door and with a handle, right? A knob, and you walked in. So they just never went in there earlier. And I'm not sure they went in there at all, at the basement at all. But John said he's going to start from the bottom up. Mm-hmm. And then one comment that, what's his name, John Douglas, made was that in his experience, if a parent hurts a child, the parent will say to the investigator, let's go look for the child. You go that way, I'll go this way. And he makes it so that the investigator finds the child. It's not the parent that finds the child. That is the way it's commonly done. And that is one of the reasons why John Douglas does not believe it was the parent.
Okay, because he
found her.
He wouldn't want to be the one that found. Well, but that doesn't mean, that just means he might be a parent that wasn't involved.
Yeah.
Maybe there's another parent that was, or a child.
Oh yeah, okay, I agree. It was maybe John wasn't involved. That's what what that means.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is definitely one of those cases, though. It's like it divides every case that I pick divides everybody up.
Right.
Because if you have a strong opinion about it and it doesn't match what the other people think, they get really angry and stomp out like little kids. So that's what I like.
Yeah. Right. It's like, why would anybody do that to those people? Why? It's like Setagaya too is all divided up. Who did it? Was it? They think maybe it was somebody to do with the military, American military, because there was I think an Air Force base, maybe Air Force base nearby, an Army base, and it would be very easy for, a kid comes in covered with blood. The father, look at what our kid did. Gets him on the next military transport back to the United States. Why did he have sand from Edward Air Force Base in his fanny pack? And then he was wearing shoes that were made in Korea, but he had never been to Korea because otherwise his fingerprints would have appeared in their database. So same thing, all these things, contradict every other ththing that you come up with. You could say, hey, I know John Ramsey did it. And then somebody else will say, yeah, but, and did you know that? And you all figure that out. And then somebody said, well, it could be Patsy. And then you have to go around the block with Patsy. Then you have Burke and around the block with Burke. And then say, suppose somebody broke in and wasn't any of them. And you go around the block with that person too.
But I mean, I would think that the letter is sort of like the key, it's one of the key elements, because the killer, it just doesn't make any sense that the killer would write this note and just leave it there, and then like you're already upstairs, so why not go out the front, or whatever, however you want to get out. I'm just wondering why you're not getting out with the child.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you don't get out with the child and the note's there, but then you kill the kid anyways.
Yeah.
So and then you go, well, they killed him because she knew who they were. Okay, that's great. So then wouldn't John know who these people are, because the note had all this information about it, and he should have known that there was these,
Yeah. Well,
Crazy.
You know, and I think Patsy's fingerprints were on the paper, but again, it was her notepad. You know, the paper the note was written on was interior to the notepad. You know, it was it wasn't the top sheet.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd think maybe her fingerprints would not be on the notepad but then if she tore it out, how come nobody else's?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Also, is the notebook a notebook from the house? Like it was there?
Yeah.
So
it
this
was on her
person
desk.
sat there and wrote this thing?
Yeah.
And then they wrote it really quick at the end. You see how it's
Yeah,
up, almost
right.
like, oh, people
And
were
there
waiting,
was,
hurrying in.
according to the documentary, which you have no reason to disbelieve, right before that page, there was another page where they started writing again. They tried it. They started writing and they changed their mind.
Mm-hmm.
The original started Mr. and Mrs. and then they stopped and then they go to the next page and said Mr. Ramsey.
Yeah.
Getting odds every few minutes.
Oh, they're getting ads.
Oh, ad. Okay, sorry. I thought I said odds.
Yeah.
What about the pen? I don't know about the pen. I don't know. So then I heard in the news today that they want to
I want people to think that it's some random person to explain how that makes really any sense at all. That the guy comes in, writes a ransom note. Doesn't it sound more likely that somebody finds a body in the house and then goes, oh shit. And then we can't have them find, so they hide the body in a closet downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And they write a ransom note so nobody will think of searching down there. But maybe the father isn't aware of that. So then when the police get there, he brings them down there and they find, I just can't, explain to me why a killer would go into the house and sit there for probably 3 or 4 minutes and write a ransom note.
That's a real problem. Unless it was somebody in the house and they knew that they wouldn't be caught. If it was already somebody in the house, what does it matter how long you take? Right.
You could have killed her at 2 a.m, sat there and go, oh shit. The mom, let's say the dad, let's just pretend the dad doesn't know. And then the mom's like the middle of the night, after she already gets up and goes, oh crap, and writes this thing. And she maybe hears people, speeds it up and then puts it there and then starts the whole show about, oh my God, she's missing. Yeah.
Right. Could have been. And what about the pineapple too in her belly? They did an autopsy. They had pineapple and the pineapple was not served at the party they went to.
Yeah. So what time? I don't know the whole thing. Like, what time did she go to bed and all that kind of stuff?
It was late because they came home from the party. I'm not sure.
And then they had pineapple when, like in the middle of the night sometime?
No, between the time she got home and the time they went to bed. Or maybe she woke up and the mom fixed her something. I don't know. But she had pineapple after she got home. And that was a big thing because they said, no, she didn't have anything to eat. And then they did an autopsy. They found pineapple.
And the mom, everybody, they never mentioned that at all?
Right. And there was a cup of pineapple on the kitchen counter, and it had Patsy Ramsey's fingerprints on it. So, throw that in. Why didn't they start talking about the pineapple? It doesn't
work good for her, like, logically. Like, if you're just somebody jumping in. See, a lot of times people know too much, and then you get too confused, and you just...
Yeah.
But if you just jump in and you just look at it and you go, wow, there's this note that somebody sat there.
Yeah.
You grab a note out of the house where people are sleeping in, and they spend time and write a note and leave it there talking about how they're going to abduct JonBenet.
Yeah.
And then to make the story work for the people who don't want it to be the family is they go, well, they was trying to get her out the window downstairs, and because it didn't work out, they just thought, wow, we got to kill her.
Yeah, they think the source I have thinks it's a stage crime scene. Stage because of the suitcase and the glass on the outside of the window, not the inside, the outside. So again, it doesn't make sense. I think something happened. Maybe the ransom note, it doesn't make sense to say she's been kidnapped and then they find her body a day later. the body's going to smell after a while. The body is going to disintegrate. You know, you're going to find the body.
So the ransom note, and then how long did it take to find the body?
I think it was like a day.
God, that's crazy. That's even weirder. That's just.
Yeah, it was a day.
I mean, that means the ransom note worked. It made people not look around in the house as much as they would have.
Yeah, that's true. Or maybe they just wrote it out of panic. You know,
and even I guess even if it was the kid, the brother, what's his name, Burke or Burke?
Yeah, Burke.
Yeah, like he, you know, even if he did something, you know, the mom might still be like, "Oh my God, we got to cover this up and write the same note."
Yeah.
But then the dad, you'd think, would know more about it at that point.
Yeah.
You know, she wouldn't be guilty. She'd be like, "Oh my God, our kid," you know, and then she'd want him to be part of it. So that's why the John Douglas thing. Then he leads him. You know, he would have known where the body was.
Yeah.
And so he didn't do that. He found the body, that is sort of unusual because you don't want to make it look like you knew where it was. So
yeah. Well, it could be one of the parents did and the other one. Maybe Patsy did it and didn't say anything to John, or maybe Burke did it. She found out and didn't say anything to John. It's, you know, it's right. When you have one thing we do know is there were 4 people in the house. One of them got murdered. You know, you draw the conclusion one of the other 3 did it. However, now we have the intruder theory that intrudes in the whole theory. Okay, and then that gets put out. So there's at least 3 people. There's not 3 people. There are at least 3 people.
Yeah. Well, let's see. So there's at least 3. I mean, so they're in there, and was she in bed first? Does Patsy say she put?
You could see she's in bed because the bedclothes are all. The bedclothes are, you know, like somebody was sleeping and got taken out. And the question is, how come she didn't cry out, right? And then that's the other part of the taser. They said she was tased, but that also is not you know, was she tased or not? There's Lou Schmidt, you know, kind of has a theory about that. And they did experiments tasing, you know, animals or just places. And JonBenet has 2 black marks on her neck that they say were taser marks. So, you know, when did that happen? Was it, did they have a taser in the house and they cover it up by tasing her, you know?
I don't know who Lou Schmidt is, but you know,
Lou Schmidt. Wait. Lou Schmidt was he was an investigator in Colorado, and he had a great reputation of figuring things out. He was a cold case detective. He was very well regarded. He didn't like a lot of publicity. The journalists would come through the front door, and he'd slip through the back door. So they called him in to help. The Boulder police, I forget where he was, what agency he was. And the Boulder police called him in, and he thought, okay, you know, I've done this before. But the more he looked at it, the more he felt that the parents were not guilty. And then, so he had a lot of evidence that he wanted to present to the grand jury, showing that, and the Boulder district attorney blocked him. They wouldn't let him allow to testify to the grand jury, and they wanted him to turn over all the evidence he had. So he refused. He went to the attorney general of the state of Colorado, who he knew for many years, and the attorney general got him into the grand jury to present his evidence. And then when Alex Hunter, the DA, went to announce to the world the results of the grand jury, because the grand jury thought it was, you know, the right way to go, they would have indicted the parents. They would have brought them into, and they were all ready for that. But Alex Hunter, the DA, after being in this whole grand jury with Lou Schmidt, they said they couldn't indict him. There wasn't enough evidence that showed that they were guilty. That's who Lou Schmidt is. And finally, he died 10 years ago or something. He was one of the top cold case guys, but he wasn't conceited or anything. He wasn't some superstar cold case guy. He was just a regular detective that was really smart. And so when he died of colon cancer, and John Ramsey was there with him when he died, praying with him when he died.
Yeah. Well, who knows? You know,
Yeah.
who knows?
So
if he is
anyway,
correct or-
that's never going to end. Never
Yeah.
going to end. Unless somebody confesses, and then how would they know? They already had that one guy from Thailand who was an idiot, and it wasn't him.
Oh yeah, John Mark Carr.
Yeah.
I remember that guy's. I don't know why I remember his name, but it just pops up.
Yeah. So anyway, we've kind of beat that to death, haven't we?
Yeah, I hear a horse that's on the ground getting.
Yeah.
Getting pummeled with a whip.
Yeah. The train, that's the train tracks. They said that she had they had train tracks in the basement. And they said the marks were made by her falling on the train tracks. Anyway, let's not go into that.
Yeah, got your little scratch tool there.
Yeah, I was scratching my back. My back itches like all the time.
Yeah. But anyways, you've been on there for we should do it again, like we just get a case and we
and we just
because I do these cold cases. I think it'd be cool to go through them and then we I mean, there's ones that are just newspapers. You'd probably be bored as I'm reading them.
Yeah, well, I like the ones like when you see one on Netflix. I like that because you get a visual. You see the layout of the house. It's not just saying that somebody did something. Oh, in the newspaper said, and then he hit her over the head with the whatever, and hit her over the head.
This one said, "Oh yeah, go ahead."
Yeah, I do. Sometimes I just call people and ask. Sometimes I call if I see occasionally a case. I might call on them and say, "Hey, are you doing genealogy?" And they'll say yes or no. I said, "Well, we may have a grant. We may be able to get you," and maybe sometimes that perks people up.
Well, here's one for you. So we did one the other day that was, or 2 days ago, maybe it was even yesterday actually. The Cheryl Springfield. It's one that I told Misty about. She called in, because there's this case where on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, actually, this lady who had, I think it was one kid and another kid was staying there at the house, but her husband shows up to drop off presents, and he finds her underneath he goes in his room because he hurt, and she's like been strangled with the cord. And I remember telling you about it and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're still trying to, so I left 2 recent messages with the detectives. I think that'd be a cool one. It's in Fort Worth, so I don't know if
Fort Worth,
might be already covered by so and so already.
Yeah, what's the name? I know somebody I can ask. What's the name
of the case again?
Yeah.
It's the Cheryl Lynn Springfield, and then like /tunnel TUNNELL. So that maybe both those words will. But in the articles it says Springfield most of the time.
What's the name of the detective? Or maybe don't say it on the air, or you can text it to me. I don't know.
Oh, they have their names are in all the articles.
Okay, well, give me the detective. I know somebody I can ask.
Let's see. I'm just trying to find the article that had it. Maybe one of these. Let's see. Decades later. This one, maybe. Okay. Okay, at the bottom. Well, there's. Shoot.
Buy chicken wing steak.
Information is asked to call Fort Worth Police Department. It's not that one.
Yeah, Fort Worth is pretty heavily trafficked with people trying to. But I know somebody.
I'm not sure why it's not showing up right now, but I got a hold of both of them. I think it was in that document. Let me just look through these things really quick.
Yeah, okay, because I have to be, by the way, Charlene, I have to usually be invited, but even if I call them, they still have to be invited. I have to be invited, yeah.
It's right there on the screen there.
Check it on the screen.
Oh, you can't see it. Hold on.
No.
That's not it either.
I see Charlene. Wow. It wasn't Charlene.
Oh, wait. I gotta get rid of that.
Wait a minute. Charlene didn't do it. I see Charlene's on the screen.
Hold on. I put the wrong share screen entire window, then the middle one. There we go. So right here, you got Detective Jeff Benet
and John
John
Galloway.
Galloway. Okay. Jeff Bennett. John Galloway.
John Galloway and Jeff Bennett.
Okay, and let me look at the numbers. Okay, John Galloway is now freaks. Don't you all call? Okay.
Well,
This
they
is-
the trolls do whatever. They're just nutty people out there.
4307.
I thought I'd check too, Gray. Oh Jesus! Just leave it.
92308. Okay, I'll ask.
Yeah, Jan
I've-
Webster in the chat. That's actually her sister.
Who is it?
See Jan Webster in there. That her sister
Yeah.
that was killed.
Oh,
That's actually
okay, Jan.
Springfield. So
Yeah, okay. Jan Webster. Look, Jan, you know, if I call there, I know people who might call on my behalf or our behalf. I don't know. Usually that kind of case in Fort Worth is really super active on FGG. So getting in there is kind of hard, but I might know somebody who might know somebody, so I can at least find out if the case is being worked.
yeah. So if you could do that, that'd be cool. I actually left a message said I'd pay for the whole damn thing. So,
Oh, okay. Well, I'll put I'll say that. I'll say there's a grant available.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll put that in. Yeah, I'll put that in. If there's somebody that would pay for it, and do they know? I don't know if I'll be successful, no guarantees, but I will try. Jan, I will try on your behalf.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't want to ask everybody, hey, do you have any relatives that were murdered, you know? And I'll see if I can help. No, I don't want to ask that. It's kind of not a, what do you think about the baby Garnet case? I think there's a lot of misinformation. I think the girl that was called wasn't really sure why she was being called, and she kind of got some kind of information, and she kind of got her own understanding of what everything was going on. And then her mom was asked, and then so you have the detective and Misty talking to this woman. You have the woman not getting it, but not quite understanding. And then you have the journalist who interviewed the woman, who adds another layer of misunderstanding to the whole thing. So when you read the article, you know, it comes out that they uploaded to Ancestry and this woman was a distant match and on and on. You know, they don't upload to you don't, what is it? She said she swabbed and she took an Ancestry test and turned the swab in. Well, Ancestry doesn't use swabs. And there's a guy out there named
a little container.
What?
You spit into a container. And
yeah. There's Jared Ross did a video, I think it's on YouTube, going through statement by statement and straightening the whole story out. So, there's Jan. Hi, Jan. Okay, I'll try. And so I think that it's hard to get in what happened. I think whatever it was not malicious. It wasn't intentional. I think Misty probably offered to help her download her results from FTDNA after she agreed. And she just got startled. She didn't remember the whole story. I don't think anything malicious was
I don't know anything
happening.
about that at all. So.
Oh, baby Garnet was a baby that was found in a what was it? A camping area in Michigan. And the baby had been found in a porta potty. And it had been born alive, and whoever the mother was threw it in there.
Kind of remember that.
Yeah, so we did baby Garnet, and Misty solved it. The woman now is on trial for murder. And the story came out in the news that her granddaughter was first approached to give a DNA target test. And then she said no. Her mother thought it was a scam. But then the mother was approached. The mother took a target test. And it turned out it was the mother's mother whose baby it was. And she didn't really know. She had never really met her mother that much. So
yeah. Anyway, somebody asked about the Springfield 3. I don't want to just keep going case after case.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I covered the Springfield 3 on my show.
Yeah, okay. I don't know about that, you know. So
show.
Yeah. So we got a lot of homework there, everybody. Lucy Blackman,
Patty Moriarty.
Setagaya, and Patty Moriarty.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, everybody's got homework, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Give you a reason for watching Netflix. And
wow, you've been on. This is your longest stint on here.
Yeah. I'm getting tired. I wanted to come. I haven't been around lately. Sorry, freaks. I was just really tired around Thanksgiving. I was supposed to come on. I just couldn't deal with it. So I'm back in action. So I'll come and be part more often. I promise. And do your homework now. Absolutely do your homework. I'm gonna be mad at you guys.
Yep. Well,
I love you too, freaks.
Yeah, it's always great having you on. So I appreciate you coming on, and
okay.
I'll see if you can get us some more updates on those our cases that you had some stuff you jotted down that you're going to check.
Yeah, I did. I have homework with the party girl, the unicorn girl, and then the Medina County guy that we identified, and the daughter wasn't really his.
Right. Yeah. Now I think they paused because there was some other information that came out in the like storage unit.
Yeah, the storage shed thing. Okay, I'll check in on it and I'll let y'all know.
All right. Well,
okay,
thanks
look, guys. Yeah, we'll see y'all soon. You hear?
Yes. Yeah. That was a fun show. We should do more. Like sometimes we'll do the updates, but we'll go over cases and stuff.
If anybody, hey, freaks, if you get a case like on Netflix or something, we can talk. It'd be good to kind of give everybody an assignment to go watch the Netflix thing and come back and we'll all kick it around.
Sweet. All right.
Okay. All right. See you guys.
Well, thanks. I don't know how you
Bye, Gray. We'll talk soon. Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
We'll talk soon. Bye,
right.
freaks. Bye.
However you get out of here. Oh, there you go. There you go. All right. Very cool. So let me do the I'm going to go all the way through all these. So thanks to LM there. I thought that was pretty fun that time, talking about different cases and so forth. And Alley Cake and Wendy Van Rokel. And then, can I just arrow down? No. Karen. Then LM. Muddy Paws. Janny Lee. Great show. Very interesting. Rations. Doctor. I'm not sure what that means. And Karen. LM. Alley Cake. Vicky White. Kami. Alley Cake. Then Gloria Batari. Vicky White. I'm a DNA detective. Not yet. Sunshine Susie. Then we got Muddy Paws, member for 3 months. Then we got Brown Eyed Girl. Got to play the music for that one. You, my brown-eyed girl. Then Leah Cash, Amber Maiden. Then Karen, Muddy Paws, Mike Fitzpatrick, likely no relation. Muddy Paws, Jeremy Pearson, Herbert Landscaping, Muddy Paws, Toxic Tink, gifted a membership. Then Wendy Woobles gifted a membership. Then Muddy Paws. Then Show Tom Sano, Plato, Toxic Tink, and Muddy Paws. I'm not sure if I was clicking on the names up here. Like these are all the other ones. Toxic Tink, Wendy Woobles, Muddy Paws, Show Tom Sano, then Plato, then Toxic Tink, then Muddy Paws, then Toxic Tink, then Muddy Paws again. Hopefully we answered most of you guys' questions that you put on there. That it was already 3 hours, so I want to get her out of there. Muddy Paws, you say it was written by a woman. You guys are, that's just what she thinks. I kind of see what she's saying too, that it was written by a woman. A little extra detail stuff that guys don't really give a shit about. Aussie Trisha, 35 months. That's almost 3 years. Then Brown Eyed Girl, 11 months. You've been here longer than that, though, haven't you? Then Zozo, 58. The Legend. Then Ozzy Trisha, gifted 5. Then I gifted 5. Then Muddy Paws. Then Charlene. Ozzy Trisha. Then Charlene. And then Muddy Paws, Michelle H. And Karen. Thank you for a terrific show tonight, Dr. Colleen. Hopefully you'll come back soon. Yeah, I was part of the show too. Thanks. Thanks a lot, Karen. It's like saying, you look nice today. What about yesterday, Gray? Yeah, anyways. There you go, everybody. That's it. Let's see. Fantastic show. Okay. I don't, my camera wasn't connected for some reason today. So anyways, thanks everybody for being here. And, maybe, I don't know, maybe one of these days we'll take a look at the JonBenet thing again. It's just sort of, I mean, that was fun talking about it. I understand why, I guess I need to see every little piece of information to really know. But to me, that fact that note's sitting there and then the girl's dead down in a closet, it's hard to, it just doesn't make any sense why an intruder would do that at all. You sit there, write a note, and then they sort of speed it up at the end. Wouldn't you just write a note before you got there and set it there? Because you knew you were going to go there to abduct her, right? And get a ransom. So wouldn't you have written it before instead of going in the middle of the night in a house filled with people in it? It's a little weird. But anyways, thanks everybody for being here. I appreciate it. Helped support the channel. Got to the goal and then some. Made up for a couple of these other nights recently. But I appreciate it. And thanks to Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick for coming on. She's awesome. She's got a really good memory too of the cases that she follows. It's like every name and everything. I think I do too many though. It's hard to remember every one of them. Some I do, some I don't. All right, you guys, thank you. We'll see you guys later. And as I always say, until next time, I think I have to turn off my echo and then say, be safe out there. And a 1 and a 2 and a 3. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person. Thank you. Is a crime dissector, the projector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Gray is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector. Thanks, on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody, talk to you later. You know that every time we have Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick on, it's always really interesting. It's just unfortunate sometimes when tonight was pretty good. We had 300 and some people watching, but there's times she comes on and she should have more views than, like a lot of the people out there that have guests on. She should have, and we'll maybe have 150 to 200 people maximum. And it's ludicrous because and it's always really interesting stuff. I mean, one night we were talking about chimeras and so forth. That was probably one of the more interesting ones for me. And, so when she comes on, make sure to be here, you guys. And tell your friends next time she's on to come watch it because it's always interesting. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys later. And be safe out there.